the maximum level expert. She thrives in interstellar riches. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1251, Eating a Lot 1. Jiu was not angry after being confronted by this person. He just sneered and continued to express his opinion. Anyway, I think paper books are very boring and take up a lot of space. You are the only one who likes this kind of thing among all my friends. Oh, by the way, did your brother tell you other information? Tell me a little more. After the voice fell, Jiu could no longer bear it and replied, "First, I'm not your friend. Your friends can do whatever they want. It has nothing to do with me. Second, I will learn from my mistakes once and not make them again. So don't think about getting information about Wen Jiu from me again." Jiu felt that he was responsible for the current situation. If he hadn't accidentally let the cat out of the bag before, Jiu wouldn't have been making a fuss here. And the third one, "Can you get out of my house?" He thought about it seriously before adding the third one, "Don't take advantage of my brother not being at home and go crazy here. I tell you, I'm not someone you can mess with." He had just finished speaking when Jiu replied with a smile, "I would like to get out of your house, but unfortunately I just snatched Wen Jiu's tasting and I have set my location in your living room. If you want me to get out, either wait until I finish the food or give me your living room. You choose." Hearing this, he was so angry that he grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. "When the tasting dishes are here, you take the plate and get out. I'm really impressed. I've never seen someone so shameless as you." To be honest, he didn't want to have anything to do with Jiu at all. The fact that the other party almost hurt him a few years ago has always left a mark in his heart. However, Jiu suddenly started to work hard a year ago and successfully entered the ranks of top students in the Imperial Capital Military Academy with his talent. Because the Imperial Military Academy is always preparing for the Military Academy competition, the top students in the school will be assigned to teams by the teachers. Unfortunately, he and Jiu were assigned to the same team. Even if he didn't want to have any contact with Jiu anymore, he had to make contact now. Jiu still had that playful look. "Hey, if I play against this Wen Jiu, who will win, me or her?" But then again, I really didn't expect that she was just here for the good fortune. What do you think she does when she doesn't train hard to be a food anchor? Is she short of star coins, or does she want to be famous? He talked a lot, but Jiu didn't pay any attention to him, so he shrugged indifferently and continued, "I think she should want to be famous. She can even buy my grandfather's villa, so she must not be short of star coins. But if she wants to be famous, why does she keep hiding her identity? TSK, what a weird girl." As he was talking, a dialog box popped up on his light screen panel, prompting him that the dishes he had just grabbed would be transmitted soon, so please be prepared to receive them. Since Jiu refused to pay attention to him at the moment, he simply sat on the ground with the pillow thrown by the other party, humming a little tune and waiting for the dishes to appear. He wanted to see what delicious dishes this Wen Jiu could make. You know, his grandfather was notoriously picky when it came to tasting food, but Wen Jiu could actually coax his grandfather around with one dessert after another. TSK, let him taste it himself and hit Wen Jiu, so that he would know that not everyone can climb the high branches of their Mu family. After a few minutes, with a flash of white light, a plate of fragrant pickled fish appeared on the coffee table. The fish meat was snow white, the soup was golden, and there were chopped green onions and bright red millet peppers as embellishments. It looked colorful and quite tempting. Seeing this, Jiu couldn't help swallowing his saliva at first, and then he coughed twice, as if nothing had happened, and said, "It looks just so-so. It's not as tempting as the braised fish made by my chef. It seems that Wen Jiu is just so-so." Jiu, who had ignored Jiu all along, sneered at this time and said, "I can hear the sound of you swallowing your saliva while sitting on the sofa. I think you will really leave a mouth after cremation, because it's too hard to burn." Because Jiu is the boss of Wu Food, He would let Ming Yu try any new products first, so he had tasted the taste of pickled fish a long time ago. Although the pickled fish he ate was not made by Wen Jiu himself, the recipe of the pickled fish cooking package was provided by the other party. This is equivalent to eating half of the pickled fish made by Wen Jiu. He can only say that whoever eats it will be addicted to the taste. Therefore, when he saw Mu swallowing his saliva, he knew that the other party was hooked by the fragrance of pickled fish. Haha, swallowing saliva is a normal physiological reaction. Don't use this to provoke me, Mu said as he picked up a piece of fish with chopsticks. The slightly pink snow-white fish fillet was stained with a little bit of golden soup. As soon as it entered his mouth, the freshness of the fish and the sourness of the golden soup spread out, domineeringly invading his taste buds. Before he had time to taste it carefully, the fish melted between his lips. The dense and tight taste was particularly strong, and the strong sour taste also burst out in an instant. This sour taste did not make him uncomfortable, but was mellow and soft, which made him hungry. So he picked up another piece of fish with chopsticks, thinking that he must taste it slowly this time. Although he tasted the freshness of the fish just now, he did not have time to taste its softness. It must be said that this really made him unsatisfied. Oh, don't you think highly of Wen Jiu's cooking? Why do you want to eat a second bite? Ming Yu sneered while holding a manuscript. Some people are not so kind as to say they hate you, right? Hearing this, he just ate the fish slices he picked up for the second time. Although he wanted to argue with Ming Yu, he really couldn't control himself. Why is this pickled fish so fragrant? It was so fragrant that he couldn't even argue and could only eat the fish silently to satisfy his stomach. The smooth and delicious fish meat was full of freshness, and you could taste a hint of elasticity when you chewed it carefully, which was the flexibility that only fresh fish meat has. The rich and tempting golden soup was just the right amount of sour, and it was mixed with a little bit of spiciness brought by the chili pepper, which aroused his appetite the moment it entered his mouth. He became more and more intoxicated as he ate, and in the blink of an eye, he ate up a plate of pickled fish, and even the bean sprouts as a side dish were wiped out by him. If Ming Yu hadn't mocked him again, he would probably have drunk the soup in the plate. Too scary. This is really too scary. He obviously wanted to find fault with Wen Jiu and prove that his cooking was mediocre. But why did he become addicted to it? I know. He put down his chopsticks and looked at the crying cat head on the screen. Wen Jiu must have poisoned the food. Thank you little angels for your support and love. Today's update has also been successfully delivered. 030. Chapter 1252. Eating a lot too. Ming Yu rolled his eyes when he heard this. Mu can you have some shame? You couldn't resist the temptation of pickled fish, but you still blamed Wen Jiu. I think you are really sick. What's wrong with me? I'm just making a reasonable guess, okay? Mu shrugged disapprovingly. You said she is from a low-level planet. How could she have such good cooking skills? So I said she poisoned the food. It's a very reasonable guess, okay? The more Ming Yu listened to Mu's words, the more speechless he became, and he sneered and said, if you think you are not as good as Wen Jiu, then go to the training ground and do more training. Don't throw dirty water on others here, okay? At first, he didn't know why Mu wanted to pick a fight with Wen Jiu until Ming Yu had mentioned it to him later, that Mr. Mu actually knew Wen Jiu, and he knew the reason. Mr. Mu is also a respected old senior, but it's a pity that the younger generation of the Mu family is very mediocre. None of them can show off, and some even mess around outside. Therefore, Mr. Mu was very disappointed with the younger generation of the Mu family. He was so angry that he ran away from home for several years. Later, although Mr. Mu returned to the imperial capital Star after his family's repeated requests, he always used a young girl as an example to educate the descendants of the Mu family. Most of the descendants of the Mu family just ignored it. Anyway, it was not the first time that Mr. Mu gave an example to scold people, so they just put it aside as nonsense. But Mu was very proud and could not stand Mr. Mu's words and his behavior. So Mu secretly investigated and found that the girl that Mr. Mu often praised was just an ordinary person from a low-level planet. Mu always thought highly of himself. After discovering this, he really couldn't stand it, so he had a big quarrel with Mr. Mu. But the girl was indeed better than Mu Yusi, and it was useless, even if Mu Yusi used his background to make things happen. This led to Mu Yusi starting to work hard to prove that he was stronger and better than this girl. And this girl, who is often used as an excellent example by Mr. Mu, is Wen Jiu, who is far away on planet 3047. TSK, how am I not as good as her? Don't talk down to me. Mu Yusi snorted with disdain. She is a student of Ria Military Academy, why should she compare with me? Hearing this, Mengiu couldn't help but be stunned for a moment before asking, what did you say? She is a student of Ria Military Academy. After the voice fell, Mu Yusi looked over with a puzzled look. Why? Don't you know that she chose Ria Military Academy? If nothing unexpected happens, she should go to school this year or next year. Mengiu really didn't know that when Jiu chose Ria Military Academy, he didn't even know that she was going to Military Academy. Logically speaking, people from low-level planets either wait for the college competition or study hard until they graduate from the Military Academy before they can go to Military Academy. But the college competition has not yet started, and when Jiu is not yet of the age to graduate from the Military Academy, why did she suddenly go to Military Academy? And she chose Ria Military Academy, which is the bottom of the 5 major military academies. Although he had known Wen Jiu for a long time and knew that the other party was Gongzi Fake, he actually had little contact with Wen Jiu. It can be said that he had almost no communication with the other party. Therefore, it was normal that he didn't know about Wen Jiu's situation. But Mu Yusi didn't even have Wen Jiu's Star Network account, so how did the other party know these things? Just when he was thinking hard alone, he saw Mu Yusi smiling sarcastically. Oh, you don't know about this yet, do you? The other party came over with a look of watching a good show. Didn't you say that you know Wen Jiu? She didn't even tell you that she was going to the Military Academy. TSK, it seems that she doesn't regard you as a friend. Mu Yusi was a person who loved to watch the fun, so naturally he had to say a few more words at this time. It was just a pity that his words did not stimulate Mengiu at all. Because Mengiu and Wen Jiu were indeed not friends, it was normal for Wen Jiu not to tell Mengiu about his promotion to the Military Academy. So Mengiu quickly regained his composure. She and I are not friends. It's normal that she didn't tell me. But you, Wen Jiu and you don't know each other, but you have to pay attention to him like a pervert. Are you sick? He knew that Wen Jiu didn't know Mu Yusi, so Mu Yusi knew so much about Wen Jiu. Most likely he used some shameful means. Facts have proved that he was not wrong. Yes, I'm sick, Mu Yusi answered confidently. Who asked her to cling to my grandfather's thigh so hard? She sends those desserts every month and gives my grandfather some calligraphy and paintings at any time, which really makes me headache. Although Mu Yusi and Grandpa Mu didn't have a deep relationship, he just didn't want Grandpa Mu to be good to Wen Jiu. That's his grandfather. Why should he be so good to an outsider? He always praises outsiders. Where does he put his own grandson? So he used a little trick to get some information about Wen Jiu. For example, which planet Wen Jiu is from, what he is busy doing recently, what is his supernatural power level, which military academy he is going to, etc. As the saying goes, knowing yourself and knowing your enemy will ensure victory in every battle, and he does not think there is anything wrong with what he did. The only pity is that Wen Jiu actually chose to go to Ria Military Academy instead of Imperial Capital Military Academy. If Wen Jiu chose Imperial Capital Military Academy, he could beat the other party to prove himself. Alas, maybe God does not want them to face each other now, so that Wen Jiu will not be beaten so badly by him. Just as he was dreaming of defeating Wen Jiu, he saw a tall man in a suit walked in. Brother, are you back early? Mingyu jumped off the sofa half surprised and half happy. Hurry up, get this annoying thing out. Hearing this, Mingyan first glanced at Mu Yusi who was sitting on the carpet, and then said softly, "Ayo, since there are guests, you should entertain them well." Although Mingyan spoke in a gentle tone, and did not say to drive Mu Yusi out, Mu Yusi still felt a chill. So Mu Yusi stood up in a hurry. "Well, since your brother is back, I'll leave first." I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. Before he finished speaking, he saw Ming Yehan handing Ming Yu a box of dessert. This is a new product expected to be launched next month. Do you want to try it? Although he wanted to leave the Ming family as soon as possible, he was still attracted by the box of dessert. Source today's update has also been successfully delivered 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1253, Eating a Lot 3. The new product that Ming Yehan brought back was actually the brown sugar jelly made by Wen Jiu in the live broadcast. Although the brown sugar jelly was launched by Taoiao, Wuiao Food will also help sell it. This is mainly because Wuiao Food has more sales channels than Taoiao, and the brown sugar jelly is not a dessert that can only be made and sold on the spot. So Ming Yehan discussed with Wen Jiu and decided to use the sales channels of Wuiao Food to help sell the brown sugar jelly launched by Taoiao. Anyway, Ming Yehan is also a shareholder of Taoiao, and he will not lose anything by helping this. Hey, isn't this the brown sugar jelly that Sister Wen Fake made in the live broadcast just now? Ming Yu opened the lid of the box and found that it contained a round pastry as crystal clear as white jade. Although he had long learned from Ming Yehan that Gongzi Fake was Wen Jiu, but every time he talked about live broadcasts and desserts, he would still habitually call her Sister Fake. After that, Ming Yehan nodded and said, yes, this is the brown sugar jelly in the live broadcast, but the one I gave you is a simple version. You just need to pour the brown sugar syrup next to it, and you can start to enjoy it. Ming Yu found out that there was a small groove inside the lid of the box, which contained a bag of dark red syrup. He wanted to try the brown sugar jelly when he was watching the live broadcast just now, but because Mu Yusi was here, he couldn't open the live broadcast to grab a taste. Fortunately, Ming Yehan brought him this box of brown sugar jelly back, so he can taste it carefully. He poured the syrup on the jelly according to what Ming Yehan said. The bright white jelly in the box was instantly engulfed by the dark red syrup. Such a scene made him swallow his saliva. But while he was swallowing his saliva, he heard another breathing sound. Wow, where did your brother get the brown sugar jelly? Mu Yusi had long forgotten his fear just now. His heart and eyes were now filled with the brown sugar jelly. We are teammates in the same team. It's not too much for you to give me half of the brown sugar jelly, right? Upon hearing this, Ming Yu moved aside and rolled his eyes at Mu Yusi. Too much, very much. This is the brown sugar jelly my brother brought me. How dare you come to me for it? Besides, you have such a big opinion about Wen Jiu. How do you have the face to eat something made by him? As soon as the voice fell, Mu Yusi replied righteously, you and I are teammates. What's wrong with eating a bite of your dessert? Also, I have a problem with Wen Jiu, but what does that have to do with me eating something she made? Besides, the brown sugar jelly your brother brought back was not made by Wen Jiu herself. Why can't I eat it? Point, I have never seen anyone who can confuse right and wrong more than you. Seeing that Mu Yusi was so eloquent, Ming Yu was too lazy to argue with him anymore. He directly picked up the wooden spoon beside the box, scooped a large spoonful of brown sugar jelly, and stuffed it into his mouth. Anyway, he said that he couldn't win the argument, so he would defeat the other party with action. As soon as the soft and sticky jelly entered his mouth, it brought a hint of coolness to the warm mouth, instantly dissolving his boredom in the hot summer. Then the thick brown sugar occupied the tip of his tongue, and the just right sweetness enveloped his taste buds, making his originally somewhat irritable mood suddenly become happy and joyful. No wonder so many people say that you should eat sweets when you are in a bad mood. He didn't quite understand this statement before, but when he ate this brown sugar jelly now, he suddenly understood. Hey, you really don't want to share a bite with me? Mu Yusi looked at Ming Yu eating the brown sugar jelly bite by bite, and he felt his heart sank. Although he and Ming Yu didn't have a good relationship, it was a bit too much for the other party not to give him even a bite of brown sugar jelly. After all, they were in the same team, and it was not an exaggeration to say that they had been through life and death together. As a result, his good teammate refused to share even a bite of food with him. He felt very uncomfortable. This cold cake really melts in your mouth, and it has a sweet aroma of rice, which is refreshing and delicious, Mingyu commented seriously while eating. Although the brown sugar syrup poured on it is thick, the sweetness is just right, and it doesn't make people feel particularly sweet. Combined with the cold cake, it tastes really delicious. Mingyu-han, who was standing aside, just listened quietly without saying anything, and secretly observed Miyusi's every move. Although he did not drive away the uninvited guest, it did not mean that he wanted him to stay. After all, Miyusi had once secretly harmed Mingyu, and he did not want the two of them to get too close now. If it were not for Mr. Mew's face, he would have asked the butler to drive him out long ago. Hey, Mingyu, please give me a bite. Miyusi was lying on the ground like a child. If you don't give me a bite, I won't help you find materials in the future. Hearing this, Mingyu first ate the last bite of the brown sugar jelly, and then slowly replied, I don't need you to help me find materials, so your threats have no effect on me. Seeing that Mingyu really didn't leave any, Miyusi couldn't help but sit up and sob aggrievedly. I was thinking of sharing my new intelligence with you, but you refused to share even a bite of brown sugar jelly with me. Well, I won't tell you any intelligence in the future. I won't tell you that Lu Yan is coming back soon. As he spoke, he realized that he accidentally let the cat out of the bag. He wanted to say something else to cover it up, but Mingyu had already heard what he said. What did you say? Lu Yan is coming back soon. Mingyu came over excitedly. Don't lie to me. My brother is here. If you dare to lie to me, I will ask my brother to beat you up. Mingyu-han, who originally wanted to go upstairs to the study, couldn't help but stop when he heard this. One reason was because he heard Miyusi mention Lu Yan, and the other was because his younger brother was really not easy to worry about. After he finished speaking, Miyusi stood up. Ahem. What? Did you hear it wrong? I said Lu Yi is coming back soon, the new cream boy, and I heard that he will cooperate with Zuan Rudy on a song. Before Miyusi could finish his words, he was interrupted by Mingyu's light tap on the back. What, Lu Yi? You were clearly talking about Lu Yan. Mingyu stood up half excitedly and half angry. Hurry up and hand over all the information you know, especially about my brother Lu. If you don't tell me, I will call me brother. Hearing this, Miyusi could only scratch his head and said truthfully, Lu Yan is coming back soon. What else can it be? Today's update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 1254 College Competition 1. How could Mingyu be fooled by Miyusi's words? He punched him in the back, making him fall to the ground unexpectedly. Fuck. What's wrong with you? Miyusi fell to the ground in pain. Fortunately, there was a thick carpet underneath, otherwise he would have to fight with Mingyu today. To be honest, he didn't expect Mingyu to react so strongly. Although he knew that Mingyu and Lu Yan had a good relationship, he didn't know that their relationship was so good. After all, Lu Yan was always alone and had few friends in the Imperial Capital Military Academy. He thought that such a cold-hearted person would not really make friends with others. However, the facts proved that he was wrong this time. I was just about to ask you what's wrong with you, Mingyu replied with his hands on his hips, angrily and anxiously. If you can't explain it today, don't even think about leaving the Ming family's gate. Hearing this, he couldn't help but stand up again in annoyance. Hey, I really won't say anything today. What can you do to me? Do you dare to detain me in the Ming family? After he finished speaking, Mingyu's face was puffed up with anger. Obviously, the other party also knew that he couldn't detain him by force. So when he saw Mingyu like this, he couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth in a happy mood. But just as his corners of his mouth were raised, he heard a gentle male voice. Immediately, the corners of his mouth drooped again. I believe that Mr. Mew will be very happy to see you and Mingyu get along well, so it's okay for you to stay at our Ming family for 10 days or half a month. Butler, please prepare a guest room for young Master Mew. Mingyu stood at the stairs with a gentle smile on his face, looking like a good brother who cares about his younger brother and friends. But to Miyusi, such a smile was like the Grim Reaper waving with a sickle. Seeing this, he couldn't help but take a step in a panic. wanting to leave the Ming family as soon as possible. It was as if the person who had been clinging to the Ming family and wanted to play with Ming Jiu before was not him. However, he was stopped by Ming Jiu after taking a few steps out. "Since my brother has spoken, then you can stay here," the other party said with a smile, but his eyes were cold. "Anyway, you and I have a good relationship, and now it's vacation, so we can play together if we live together, don't you think?" He looked at Ming Jiu's rare cold face and swallowed his saliva in a panic. "Excuse me, who said that the two brothers of the Ming family were very gentle and kind? Can this man who looked like he was going to be kidnapped if he didn't stay be considered gentle and kind?" After thinking about it, he finally stayed. So he was surrounded by the two brothers of the Ming family, which made him not know how to deal with it for a while. If he had known earlier, he would not have asked for information about Lu Yan, otherwise he would not have accidentally let it slip. "Have a cup of tea to moisten your throat." Ming Yan personally brewed a pot of tea and then poured a cup of tea for Mu Yusi after moistening your throat. Answer Yu's question. Hearing this, Mu Yusi sighed helplessly. "I really don't know much. I only know that Lu Yan is coming back, and I don't know anything else." "It doesn't matter if you don't know much, you just need to tell me what you know," Ming Yu replied while drinking tea leisurely. Although he usually behaves very gentle and easy to get along with, it does not mean that he is someone who can be manipulated by others. No matter how excessive Mu Yusi's behavior was before, he was too lazy to argue with him. Because Mu Yusi usually just spoke harshly, and it would not cause any substantial harm to him, so he just listened with one ear and let it out with the other. But this time Mu Yusi mentioned his good friend, Lu Yan, the only good buddy he recognized in his heart, and he couldn't stand it. Okay. Mu Yusi has always been a person who knows how to judge the situation. Lu Yan is going to end his retreat and will come back to the Imperial Capital Military Academy to prepare for the Military Academy competition with us. As for other things, I really don't know. Don't force me. Hearing this, Ming Yan smiled and asked, "Master Mu, where did you get this news?" Mu Yusi pondered for a moment before whispering, "Well, wasn't I often called by the teacher some time ago? Once, I just walked to the door of the office and heard several teachers talking about this matter." Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Ming Yu with a smile. "Are you sure that the teacher is always looking for you?" the other person said as he poured new tea into the cup. "Also, the teacher's offices at the Imperial Capital Military Academy are equipped with special anti-eavesdropping equipment, and there are regulations that teachers must close the door for soundproofing after entering the office." "How did you hear it at the door of their office?" He felt a little embarrassed when he heard this. "If you want to listen to me, please listen carefully. Can you please stop questioning me here?" After the words fell, Ming Jiu just glanced at him with a cold face. "Don't lie in front of my brother. My brother is not a person who likes to listen to lies. He might catch you and do something. As the saying goes, you have to bow your head under the eaves." After thinking it over, Mu Yusi finally told the truth. "Didn't I do something during the training last time? Then that damn Yun Yao found evidence of my doing it and handed it to the dean's office. If I don't want to be called as a parent, I can only steal the evidence." He just caused a little damage to the training ground. He didn't understand why Yun Yao was so fussy and handed the evidence he accidentally dropped to the dean. So he could only find an opportunity to sneak into the dean's office and steal the evidence that proved he had done something wrong. Unexpectedly, when he was looking for evidence in the office, the dean who was originally going to a meeting suddenly came back, and he could only find a place to hide as quickly as possible. "While I was hiding, Director Yuan was on the phone in the office," he recalled and spoke seriously. "He turned on the loudspeaker, so I heard the person he was talking to say that young Master Lu is expected to end his retreat in the second half of the year and will return to the Imperial Capital Military Academy to continue his studies and will join the ranks of top students to prepare for the Military Academy competition. As for the rest, I don't know. Because the two of them turned off the loudspeaker when they talked about this, and Director Yuan also went to another room through the secret passage in the office, so I really don't know anything about what they talked about later." Hearing this, Mingyu first looked at Mingyahan, and then asked, "Then I have another question to ask. How did you know the information about Wen Jiu? Today's update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out, Little Angels." 030. Chapter 1255 College Competition 2. After hearing this question, Miyusi subconsciously replied to Mingyu, "What does this have to do with you?" "Of course it's my business," Mingyu replied confidently, "although Wen Jiu and I are not friends, she is my brother's good friend and partner. With these two levels of relationship, my brother and I have the obligation to find out your intentions and the channels through which you secretly get information, so as to prevent Wen Jiu from being unnecessarily hurt." Hearing this, Miyusi was about to say that Mingyu was making up a story, but he met Mingyahan's phoenix eyes. Unlike the coldness that Mingyu deliberately pretended, Mingyahan's eyes were only as indifferent as a deep well. It was like looking at a dying person, without any ripples. Seeing this, his strong desire to survive made him tell the truth immediately. "I just arranged a few people to go to planet 3047 to search for and report Wen Jiu's situation to me." He paused for a moment before continuing, "I swear, I have never done anything to hurt her. I just want to know what she is busy with on weekdays, and whether she is deliberately trying to please my grandfather so as to get close to our new family. Honestly, I don't understand why you think of Wen Jiu like that." Mingyu's emotions had eased at this moment, so his attitude was not as aggressive as before. "If she is someone who wants to get close to others, then why doesn't she come to my brother? Her relationship with my brother must be better than her relationship with Grandpa Mu, and our Ming family is no worse than your Mu family." After hearing this, Miyusi continued to be stubborn with red ears. "That must be because the old man's ears are softer. Look, Wen Jiu just gave my grandfather some worthless desserts and coaxed my grandfather into submission. Your brother is so smart and powerful, so he naturally looks down on Wen Jiu's tricks." After the voice fell, it was Mingyan who took over the conversation this time. "First of all, I'm very surprised why you have such a misunderstanding of Wen Jiu. Secondly, Wen Jiu herself is a very outstanding girl with great potential. She doesn't need to hold anyone's thighs to conquer the world. If you have such a strange and inexplicable prejudice against her again, please don't blame me for being ruthless." Hearing this, Miyusi wanted to refute. But when he looked at Mingyan's indifferent expression and Mingyu's cold face, he could only shut his mouth and pretend to be dumb for a while, and then comfort himself by saying that he had to bow his head under the eaves. He really didn't understand why all the people around him were helping Wen Jiu. Was he the only one who could see the other party's hidden ambition? Alas, he hadn't thought too badly of Wen Jiu before, but now he could only regard him as a villain. If it weren't for Wen Jiu's bewitching these people behind the scenes, how could he be forced to stay in Ming's house and unable to leave? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but sigh for his situation. However, Wen Jiu, who he regarded as a villain, didn't even have the time to clear out the scoundrels, let alone bewitching people. "Well, I will reduce the number of live broadcasts in the next 2 weeks, because I have something to do recently. Don't worry, I will make up for the owed live broadcast time after I'm done. Interact with Zuan Rudion Xingbo? That's no problem, I'll do it later. Oh, by the way, please edit the recent cooking teaching video. Thank you for your hard work." Wen Jiu slowly packed up his things while talking to Lulu. After she finished the live broadcast, she went to have dinner, and then she had to find a teacher for night training. That is, work and training are not neglected. Considering that Kyoshi and Zikingayu are both going to participate in the competition, she thought about putting all kinds of work aside for the time being and making some nutritious meals for the two of them during this period. By the way, she borrowed Zhuang Ming's laboratory to make some ointment to relieve the muscle soreness after the two exercised. In short, she will be busy with her friend's affairs recently and put other things aside for the time being. Days passed one after another, and Chu Jian and Stephanie returned to planet 3047 at the beginning of the month. After they came back, they still maintained a very ordinary friendship as before. although Wen Jiu occasionally noticed the undercurrent between them. In order to let Kyoshi and Zikingayu concentrate on preparing for the competition, she finally decided to pretend that she knew nothing. After all, Chujian and Stephanie were still very harmonious on the surface. At least most people could not notice that there was a problem between them. So she should wait until the end of the competition to solve the problem between the two, so as not to affect Kyoshi and Zikingayu at this critical moment. Zhao Jiu, are we going to the academy to find Zhao Huahua? Hearing this, Wen Jiu, who was packing in the kitchen, looked up and replied, go in the afternoon. Shishi and the others were taken by Teacher Lee to do a pre-match checkup this morning. Stephanie couldn't help but pout when she heard this. Why do we have to do a checkup before the game? So annoying. What is there to check? As soon as she finished speaking, Chu Jian came in with a bag of fruits and vegetables. This is to prevent someone from using improper means to improve their strength before the game. Chu Jian first put the bag in his hand on the cupboard and then slowly explained, before the preliminary competition officially begins, there will be checks every day. And there will also be checks after the competition begins, and the checks will be more and more complicated at that time. After hearing this, Stephanie dragged her chair to sit down. Although she wanted to refute Chu Jian's words now, she pursed her lips and said nothing. On the one hand, she didn't pay much attention to the college competition, so she really didn't know what the necessary procedures for the competition were. On the other hand, she didn't want to upset Wen Jiu, who had been telling her not to make trouble every day recently. Speaking of which, the day after tomorrow is the day for the preliminary round, right? Chu Jian handled the ingredients very skillfully. I hope the two of them can successfully get the quota for promotion. Hearing this, Wen Jiu replied, while packing the ingredients, yes, the preliminary round will be the day after tomorrow, but the specific schedule will not be known until tomorrow. Because the officials of the college competition are worried that someone will tamper with it privately, the schedule for the early stage of the competition will only be announced one day in advance. Alas, I feel that this competition will be super boring. Stephanie sat on the chair and gently swung her legs. What's the point of announcing the schedule the day before the competition? Chu Jian refuted after hearing this. Why is it boring? Knowing the opponent only one day in advance means there is no time to prepare. It can be said that many people will perform on the spot. How can such a competition be boring? Today's update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 1256 College Competition 3. Hearing this, Wen Jiu corrected, while processing the ingredients, there have been some changes to the competition system for this year's college competition. The contestants will not know who their opponents are until the day of the competition. The only thing that will be announced one day in advance is which contestants will participate. After all, the college competition has been suspended for a long time. Now that it has finally been resumed, the official will naturally make the competition system more perfect. The contestants will receive a notice the day before the competition begins, and only then will they know whether they will participate on the day of the competition. On the day of the competition, the official staff will conduct a random draw on the spot to draw opponents for all the contestants. So that's how it is. Little Jiu knows more. Stephanie couldn't help but flatter again. Little Jiu, what delicious food are you going to make for Zhao Bangli and Zhao Huahua today? I want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs. Wen Jiu first handed the other part of the ingredients to be processed to Chu Jian, and then slowly said, I will make sweet and sour pork ribs for you in the evening. The dishes I will make for lunch today are all light, mainly because Kyoshi and Zikingayu will have to undergo examinations in the near future. She is afraid that using ingredients that should not be used will cause unnecessary trouble. In addition, the two have been in a highly nervous state recently, and they are not suitable for eating foods with heavy oil and salt. So she decided to cook during this period of time, according to the standards for athletes in the sports meeting. Well, how about letting the little fox make sweet and sour pork ribs for me? Stephanie kicked the chair twice like a spoiled child. I really want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs. I want to eat it. I want to eat it. Hearing this, she cleaned the lunchbox while talking. Didn't you notice that Ukiki and Hubaba disappeared yesterday? After she finished speaking, Stephanie suddenly realized, the little foxes disappeared yesterday? How come I didn't know? Then what is the furry creature lying at the door now? That's Sueli. She looked at the yellow and white tiger at the door and couldn't help but support her forehead speechlessly. It's the little tiger I brought back from the desolate star 2 years ago. You can't pretend not to know him just because he's grown up now. Sueli is no longer the ignorant little tiger he used to be. Although he still can't transform into a human, he already has the mind of a 15-year-old boy. Therefore, when Wen Jiu finished speaking, he snorted in a very cooperative manner, then stood up and walked away with his tail swishing. Seeing this, Chu Jian couldn't help but chuckle. You can't even tell the difference between a tiger and a fox. How did you get through the final exam? Stephanie wanted to take action directly and beat up the annoying Chu Jian, but considering that Wen Jiu was still here, she finally held back her anger. Because Stephanie stopped talking, Chu Jian also shut up. The murderous intent between the two permeated the kitchen, and Wen Jiu could only pretend not to know and continue cooking. There was no way. She really didn't want to cause trouble at this critical moment. So she quickly assigned tasks to the two and asked them to do things separately so that at least they could avoid quarrels. Although there was a little disturbance, the three of them finally worked together to make the meal and set off to the college smoothly in the afternoon. This is a nutritious meal prepared for the two of you. You should be 70% full after eating it. Because Kaioshishi and Zikingayu have been doing strenuous exercise recently, Wen Jiu always prepares nutritious meals for them according to the state of 70% fullness. Hearing this, Kaioshishi first took a towel to wipe the sweat off her face, then smiled and replied, "Thank you Jiu. Alas, it's really tiring to have to do the checkup every day. It feels more tiring than training." "Yeah," Zikingayu said while packing up, "and the official regulations are so strict, but there are still people who want to cheat by taking drugs. TSK, they are really brave." After all, the college competition was finally resumed, and this time the restrictions on the participants were relaxed, so it is inevitable that some people want to cheat to improve their strength and ensure that they can go further in the competition. But it must be said that cheating is very shameful, especially in such a competition that determines the future. "How are you two preparing?" Chu Jian yawned lazily while sitting aside. "The competition is about to start. Don't let us down." Hearing this, Zikingayu, who had just received the lunchbox, replied, "Then we are well prepared. There is absolutely no way we will let you down. By the way, you must come to watch our competition. Otherwise Ayahaha and I will be very angry." After the voice fell, Stephanie said while drinking milk tea, "Oh my, if you say that, I suddenly don't want to watch the competition. I really want to know what you look like when you are angry." Although Stephanie was saying something strange, no one present had any expression change. There was no way. Everyone was used to it. So Zikingayu continued calmly, "It's okay. If you don't want to come, don't come. I will turn on the projection system at home, and you have to watch it, even if you don't want to." "Oh my Zio Banley, it's very boring for you to do this." Stephanie pouted, pretending to be wronged. "Don't worry, I will definitely come to watch your game, because I want to know how much you have improved in the past 2 years, so that I can bully you in the training ground in the future." After hearing this, Kaioshishi whispered while eating, "We have improved a lot. So you can rest assured. By the way, the seats for watching the game on site must be booked in advance. Have you made an appointment on Star Network?" This time, the college competition can be said to have attracted much attention, so even if it is only the preliminary round, many people want to watch it. Although the venue for the competition is particularly large and is a special venue built by the official early in the morning, the number of seats is still limited. Therefore, those who want to go to the scene to watch need to make an appointment online to grab a seat. "I'll do it, don't worry." When Jiu took out the prepared fruit, "I've already reserved a seat to watch the game, but the official hasn't announced the game yet, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow or the day after tomorrow to find out if we've booked a match for you." Although the official rules can guarantee the fairness of the game to the greatest extent, there are inevitably some shortcomings in other aspects of the game. For example, in terms of watching the game, the audience needs a little luck. to see the game they want to watch in the early stages of the schedule. Chapter 1257 College Competition 4. As soon as Wen Jiu finished speaking, someone answered from behind. You don't have to worry about this problem, because I have arranged everything. Ziziu strode into the lounge, wearing a black suit that showed off his tall figure and light gold glasses on his tall nose. At first glance, he looked quite gentle and elegant. However, everyone present knew what he really looked like. What do you mean? Did you bribe all the contestants to cheat? Chu Jian leaned back lazily, with an ambiguous smile on his face. Hearing this, Ziziu first stretched out his index finger and shook it, and then said with an unfathomable look, "No, I don't bother to use those cheating methods. Besides, if Zikingayu can't even pass the preliminary round, then he might as well go to the desolate starter farm earlier. There is no need to continue wasting time here." Zikingayu, who was inexplicably involved, couldn't help but put down his lunchbox. "Hey, you guys chat about your own things. Why are you dragging me in? With my strength, it's easy for me to win the preliminary round. I'm sure the first place in this competition will be mine, so can you guys stop questioning me?" He felt like a stray dog walking on the side of the road looking for food, and was kicked twice by Ziziu and Chu Jian for no reason. "Who questioned you? Don't be so sensitive." Ziziu chuckled a few times before continuing. "Anyway, it's impossible for me to help Zikingayu cheat in the game." After the voice fell, Wen Jiu asked doubtfully, "What do you mean when you say that everything is arranged?" It's not her fault that she would think too much, mainly because what Ziziu said was really easy to make people imagine. But she didn't believe that Ziziu would help Zikingayu cheat. Although the other party always said some words to mock Zikingayu, he still believed in and loved his younger brother in his heart. "Alas, Jiu, you have really been playing with my brother for a long time. How come even your IQ has dropped with him?" Ziziu picked up a fork and forked a piece of cut pear and ate it. "I mean, you don't have to worry about watching the game, and don't worry about missing the game." In order to prevent Wen Jiu and others from thinking wrongly again, he directly told the whole story. In fact, Ziziu sponsored the college competition on behalf of the Z family, so he could use this relationship to arrange for Wen Jiu and others to watch the game. However, the official supervision of sponsors was also very strict this time, so Ziziu had to squeeze Wen Jiu and his group in reasonably. "No, your Z family has become a sponsor, so why can't we watch the game casually?" Wen Jiu really couldn't understand this situation. Is the power of money so insignificant? Hearing this, Ziziu spread his hands helplessly. There is no way. This college competition has attracted much attention, and the control in all aspects is stricter than before. So even if our Z family becomes a sponsor, we can't have too many privileges. When he said this, he glanced at Zikingayu, and then continued, "Besides, Xiao Bangli is also going to participate in this college competition. If our Z family uses too many privileges, it may affect other people's perception of Xiao Bangli." Wen Jiu nodded in agreement when he heard this. "That's right. Xiao Bangli is going to participate in the competition, and it is reasonable for your Z family to avoid suspicion. But since you want to avoid suspicion, why don't you follow through? We in the Z family would like to, but unfortunately the authorities won't allow us to do so." Ziziu's expression became even more helpless. "You also know that the Liu family and the White family are long gone, and now there is no new family that can stand on equal footing with the Z family, so the authorities can only ask our Z family to sponsor and host the event. Considering that Zikingayu would also participate in this college competition, Ziziu had no intention of intervening in this college competition, but the authorities insisted on asking the Z family to sponsor and host the event, saying that this would highlight the beauty of their 3047 planet. However, to put it bluntly, the authorities actually felt that only the Z family had money, and they wanted to get some star coins to make the competition better. There was no other way. Low-level planets could only get a little bit of heat at this time, and who wouldn't want to take this opportunity to stand out? If they won the public's favor, or the attention of the federal headquarters, they might be promoted to a mid-level planet, and then they would have better resources. Therefore, even if the federal headquarters allocated funds to each planet that hosted the college competition, all planets that were going to host the college competition would work harder to raise funds. When Jiu was speechless about the whole story, she didn't expect that the official would also find a sucker to get money. But even if she was speechless, she didn't bother to care about it, since the money didn't come to her. So what method do you plan to use to ensure that we can definitely watch the game? As soon as she finished speaking, Ziziu smiled and said, there will be many businesses at the competition site. I can let you participate in the name of the business, so that you can watch the game at any time. Participate in the name of a business? The more she thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong. You don't want me to set up a stall at the competition site, do you? Although she had never watched a college competition, she knew that there were many vendors at the competition site. Now that Ziziu said this, it was hard for her not to think about this aspect. After the words fell, the other party immediately clapped his hands. Smart. This way, you guys can watch the game anytime, anywhere, without worrying about missing the game between Xiao Bangli and Xiao Huahe. Participating in the game in the name of a merchant means setting up a stall on the spot. At that time, you can bring multiple people into the venue, and you can also enter the venue to watch the game when the flow of people is small. To be honest, this is quite comfortable. You don't have to worry about not being able to make an appointment for the game, nor do you have to worry about not being able to see the game you want to watch. Point, your brother is really smart. Chu Jian really couldn't help but complain. Let Wen Jiu go to the game site to set up a stall. Is it Wen Jiu who makes money or the official? Hearing this, Ziziu replied confidently, can't both sides make money? Anyway, setting up a stall is definitely better than booking a match by yourself, so you should consider this opportunity carefully. Brother, can't you arrange some high-end viewing privileges? Zikingai really couldn't stand it anymore. Although setting up a stall is not a low-class thing, but I'm going to participate in the college competition. Can you give my friend some good treatment? Ziziu said immediately after hearing this. Isn't this treatment good enough? Setting up a stall allows you to watch the game at will, which is much better than booking a match. So, Wen Jiu, do you want to agree? Today's update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your understanding and support. 030. Chapter 1258. The preliminary round is coming. 1. After thinking about it carefully, Wen Jiu finally agreed to Ziziu's proposal. Everyone was a little confused at first and didn't understand why she agreed to such a thing. It was not until many people couldn't get a seat for the competition and posted crazy complaints on the local forum in Xingbo that everyone realized how wise her decision was. The preliminary round of the college competition came as scheduled, and the grand opening ceremony was amazing. After the ceremony, it was a tense moment for the contestants to draw their opponents. Kyoshi received a notice early yesterday morning. She was one of the contestants on the first day of the preliminary round. She would draw her opponent and complete the competition today. Although she had prepared for the college competition for several years, the moment she stepped onto the draw table, her heart still beat rapidly and uncontrollably. Next, please invite Kyoshi from college 3047 to draw the number. You just need to put your hands on the red square on the stage. The host in charge of hosting this draw ceremony was looking at the camera not far away with a smile on his face. In the past, only the low-level planets would have a little bit of interest, and the people of the middle and high-level planets didn't care about the college competition at all. After all, they were born in Rome, and they didn't need to care about this kind of competition that could change the fate of people on low-level planets in one fell swoop. It was because this college competition was linked to the previous third military region incident, and it was suspended for so many years before it won the precious opportunity to be held again, that it was able to successfully attract widespread attention from the federal society. Therefore, this college competition also opened a special Star Network live broadcast. After hearing the host's words, Kyoshi strode forward to the red square. She took a deep breath first, and then gently placed her hands on the red square. The red square with a jade-like texture lit up with a faint halo, but in just a few seconds, a line of words was projected from it. Kyoshi of 3047 College has drawn the 54th position. As this line of small words appeared, the large screen on the side also changed. The player in the 54th position has been matched successfully. Kyoshi of 3047 Academy vs. Han Yashin of Han Philosophy Academy. Hiss, why is she a student of Han Philosophy Academy? Zhao Huahua is so unlucky. Zikingayu frowned as soon as she saw the big screen. Hearing this, Chu Jiadan beside her raised his eyelids indifferently. Han Philosophy Academy, a place where garbage gathers. Unlike 3047 Academy, Han Philosophy Academy is a private preparatory military academy. Moreover, Han Philosophy Academy does not recruit students based on their abilities, but takes the student's family background as the standard. Therefore, many people who do not meet the standards, but have good family backgrounds will study at Han Philosophy Academy. Well, isn't that a garbage recycling station? Stephanie expressed her opinion while eating candied strawberries. Zhao Huahua can easily win against garbage. After the voice fell, Zikingayu shook her head disapprovingly and said, there is a difference between garbage, and the students who can participate in the college competition are not ordinary people. Garbage with only wealth is not scary. What is scary is garbage with both wealth, power and ability. However, Zikingayu didn't think that Kyoshi was incompetent, but was worried that the opponent the other party had drawn would be very difficult to deal with. You know, Kyoshi had a falling out with her family a few years ago, and now she can be said to be an ordinary person with no power or influence. If this opponent from Han's Academy gets angry after being defeated, Kyoshi will be in big trouble. Why worry so much? If an enemy comes, we will fight him. If a flood comes, we will block it with earth, Wen Jiu said slowly, after listening to what several people said. If he dares to use his power to oppress Shishi, it will be over if I don't cut him off. Also, Zikingayu, you are the one with the biggest background. If your friend is bullied, won't you help him back? Can you act like a rich kid? Speak a little more firmly, and walk a little more arrogantly. She was really impressed. How could Zikingayu, the person with the biggest background, be more nervous than her who had no power or influence? After the words fell, Zikingayu lowered her head in grievance. You beat me when I was arrogant before, and now you are being mean to me when I'm not arrogant anymore. It is so hard to be a human being. The main reason is that he has been hanging out with Wen Jiu and others for a long time, and he has long lost his former temper. There is no way who can be arrogant to others when they are oppressed to wash dishes and sweep the floor every day. Wen Jiu felt a little embarrassed when she heard this. She could only stuff a string of candied haws into Zikingayu's hand and pretend that nothing happened just now. Chu Jiadan looked at the embarrassed two people in front of him and couldn't help laughing out loud. Okay, let's pack up and prepare to change venues. The host just announced today's venue allocation. Zhao Huahua will go to venue B to compete in the afternoon. After that, he took the lead in putting away the snacks and fruits brought by Wen Jiu. Because this morning was mainly for the opening ceremony and the lottery ceremony, Wen Jiu did not bring his friends to set up a stall at this time. After the host announced that all the ceremonies were over, the group rushed straight to venue B on the first day. More than 300 contestants competed. Although they came from different military academies, they all had a common goal. That is, to break through the preliminary, semi-final, and final rounds and win the top 10. As long as you are in the top 10, you can get the qualification to advance to the military academy in advance. Shishi, are you nervous now? Because the officials are worried that the contestants will cheat secretly. All the contestants have to stay in the special lounge on the day of the competition, except for participating in the lottery ceremony and the competition. It is precisely because of this that Kyoshi followed the staff to the lounge after the ceremony and did not go to meet Wen Jiu and others. One thing, Kyoshi took a sip of the water cup. I hope both of us can pass smoothly. Coincidentally, Minahan also competed today, and like her, she was competing in the B venue. So when the two met in the lounge, they found a place to sit down and talk. I hope so too. Minahan stared at the water in her cup, not knowing whether she was nervous or thinking about something else. It would be great if I could draw a superpower duel. My fighting skills are still not up to paragraph. Hearing this, Kyoshi was about to say a few words of comfort when she saw a burly man walking over. The other party had a malicious smile on his face, and his slanted eyes were still staring at her, as if he was looking at a prey. You are Kyoshi, right? TSK. I didn't expect my opponent to be a beauty. Don't worry, I will show mercy to you. Otherwise, I will be sad if I hurt such a beautiful face of yours. Today's update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 1259. The preliminary round is coming too. Are you sick? Minahern got angry when she heard this, and she slammed the table and stood up. Who needs you to pretend to be gentle and considerate here? Can you stop saying those disgusting words? After all, she was spoiled by her family, so her temper has never been good. But as soon as she finished speaking, the man turned his head suddenly and looked her up and down. Oh, I didn't expect there were so many beauties in this college competition, but you all have such hot tempers. I still prefer gentle girls. The other person's eyes were like looking at a commodity, which made her frown uncomfortably. Who cares what type of girls you like? This is a competition site, not a vegetable market. Besides, you are not worthy of being picky about girls. No one will pick up a crooked melon like you if you throw it out. If it weren't for the official regulations prohibiting fighting in the lounge, she would have punched the man and made him cry bitterly. Thinking of this, she glared at the man fiercely. However, the other party smiled and shrugged nonchalantly, as if he was deliberately provoking her, because she didn't dare to attack. Because the contestants were sitting in the lounge waiting, the quarrel between the two quickly attracted everyone's attention. Minahern wanted to curse a few more times, but Kyoshi grabbed her wrist. I want to get some fruit to eat. You go with me. Kyoshi just looked at the self-service fruit stand not far away with a calm face, as if she didn't hear the disgusting words of the strange man in front of her. Seeing this, although Minahern didn't understand it, she still nodded and agreed. So the two ignored the man and walked towards the self-service fruit stand together. The other contestants thought they could see a good show, but they didn't expect that the fire would go out before it started. Everyone had to retract their gazes and discuss with the people around them in a low voice. That girl will probably be in trouble later. It's bad enough to play against Han Yasheng, and now she has a dispute with Han Yasheng. Alas, she's doomed to lose before the game even starts. I heard that Han Yasheng was the second place in the internal competition of Han's college. Look at that little girl with thin arms and legs. She's probably a third-year student around 15 or 16 years old. How can she play against someone like Han Yasheng? What a pity. How could such a good girl be drawn to Han Yasheng? But if she is a third-year student, it doesn't matter if she loses a game. At most, she can wait for the next college competition, or wait for the graduation exam, after completing 6 years of study. Although the discussions of these contestants were not loud, they were still heard by Kyoshi and Minahern. Minahern frowned indignantly, as if she was going to argue with those people to the end. Kyoshi lowered her head and continued to eat fruit, as if she was not the unlucky one being talked about. Seeing this, Minahern couldn't help but whispered, "Shishi, they said that to you. Aren't you angry? What's there to be angry about? I won't die if I get scolded a few times." Kyoshi calmly took a piece of honeydew melon and ate it. You also said that this is a competition, not a vegetable market. Then naturally everything is based on strength, not on talking to win the first place. At this point, Kyoshi looked at Minahern and smiled, but thank you for speaking up for me just now. I didn't expect that you get more angry than me. If it were in the past, Kyoshi would definitely fight back if she was provoked by words. But after Wen Jiu told her that fists are more effective than words, she decided that, no matter what troubles she encountered in this competition, she would use her fists to solve them happily. What's more, she had recognized Han Yasheng a long time ago. Her parents who didn't give up managed to pass on the news of Han Yasheng to her a year ago. Although the Han family is much worse than the Z family, it is also a big family on planet 3047. So her parents wanted to use her as a stepping stone to marry into the Han family and help her useless brother. She had given up on her parents for a long time, so when she heard the news, she was not angry, but found it very funny. Kyo Mingming had long been confirmed to be an ordinary person without superpowers, so why did her parents still want to cultivate such a thing? Just because Kyo Mingming was a son? In short, all kinds of factors combined made her make a decision. She was going to beat Han Yashin up in the game and make the Kyo family, who were determined to climb up the ladder, and the Han family become enemies. Anyway, she had long left the Kyo family, and the fight between the two families had nothing to do with her. Thinking of this, she forked up a piece of honeydew melon and bit it hard. The venue for the college competition this time was expanded. In addition to the main venue for the opening ceremony and the final, there were 4 secondary venues A, B, C, and D because today's competition was held in 4 venues at the same time. It was Kyo Shish's turn to play at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She followed the staff to complete the routine inspection and then went to another lounge to wait. She was the only one in the huge lounge because this was a single person lounge specially prepared by the official for the players to calm down and adjust their state before the game. She stayed here for about 10 minutes and then a staff member came in to inform her that she was going to play. So she took a deep breath and strode out and stopped in front of a blue square according to the instructions. Please ask the 2 players in position 54 to draw the game method. After the system prompt sounded, Kyo Shishi gently covered the square with her hand. This game will be held in the form of a supernatural power duel. She looked at the line of small words that popped up and frowned with some regret. How could it not be a weapon duel or a fighting duel? But before she had time to think about it, the barrier that blocked the front disappeared automatically. Han Yashin was standing 10 meters away from her. After seeing her, the other party curled his lips greasily. Seeing this, she rolled her eyes in disgust and then walked onto the lift platform according to the system prompt. Unlike the internal competitions held by various colleges, the college competition is a real battle and no bracelet shields will be issued to the contestants. Therefore, the moment Kyo Shishi stood on the lift, she cheered up and entered the fighting state. This time she will use her own strength to prove that she is definitely not a dodder that needs to rely on others. Those contestants thought she was a beautiful vase, and they all knew that Han Yashin was the second in Han's college, so they thought she would definitely lose this game. However, what those contestants didn't know was that she was the first in the internal competition of College 3047. Today's update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1260. The preliminary round is coming 3. The next players to compete are Kyo Shishi from 3047 College and Han Yashin from Han Philosophy College. They will compete in a supernatural duel. Please take your seats in an orderly manner and don't walk around. You don't want to come to watch a game and get your hair permed by supernatural powers. The host introduced the rules of the game with a smile on his face, and at the same time, he jokingly reminded the audience not to walk around and make too much noise during the game, and not to approach the duel stage for the game without permission. Although the duel stage and the viewing platform have special barriers to protect the audience from any harm, it is inevitable that there will be people who want to leave the barriers. Some want to watch the game more closely, some sneak in without an appointment, and some are media who want to get first-hand information. In short, no matter how strict the official control is, there will be a few people who want to die. So before each game starts, the host will repeatedly emphasize the matters of watching the game. How come it's Shish's turn so soon? Zikingayu, who had just sat down, rubbed her hands nervously. Sister Jiu, your prediction is accurate enough. After that, Wen Jiu, who was sitting next to her, said calmly, it's not that I predicted it accurately. I asked the uncle who set up a stall next door, and he said it was about this time in previous years. Because she promised Ziziu to set up a stall here, she took Zikingayu and others to the stall at 1 PM to pack up and prepare to sell some snacks. But she didn't rush to open the stall because she thought Kyo Shish's number was at the front, and she went to ask the uncle next door who had rich experience in setting up stalls. When she heard that the competition would start at around 3 o'clock, she directly hung up the sign of suspending business and waited while chatting with Zikingayu and others. Facts have proved that your uncle is indeed your uncle. Here, one for each of you. Stephanie took out the cheering card she had made early in the morning from her wisdom ring space. I specially chose the pink color that Xiaohua likes the most. Hearing this, Zikingayu immediately took the pink cheering card handed over by Stephanie and saw that it was written in a very cute font that Kaioshishi won the first place. There are many fluorescent flowers embellished next to these 7 big words, and it can be seen that Stephanie made the cheering card carefully. Feng Feng, what does my cheering card look like? Zikingayu first held the cheering card in his arms, and then looked at Stephanie with curiosity. As soon as the voice fell, Stephanie smiled and curved her eyes, and the pink and purple eyeshadow sparkled in the sun. When you play in the game, you will know. Zikingayu retracted his sight when he heard this, and did not continue to question Stephanie, because he knew that no one could force Stephanie to do something she didn't want to do, and no one could make the other party say something she didn't want to say. Of course, except for Wen Jiu. What is this? Chu Jian looked at the pink bunny headband in his hand with a little disdain. Should I wear it too? Before Stephanie could speak, Wen Jiu beside him whispered, you have to wear it. We have to have the same style, so that Shishi can see where we are. After hearing this, Chu Jian reluctantly lifted his hair and put on the pink bunny headband. However, what he didn't know was that this was the biggest achievement Wen Jiu had fought for. If Wen Jiu hadn't tried his best to stop Stephanie, he would still be forced to wear pink bunny short sleeves. Hey, are those sitting over there from the Kao family? Zikingayu had just put on the pink bunny headband, and when he turned his head, he saw a few familiar faces. Although they were several meters away, he still recognized them at a glance. They were Kaioshishi's parents and younger brother. It's just that Kaioshishi had long since left the Kao family and announced that she had no relationship with the people in the Kao family, so he would not call these people Kaioshishi's family. Let me see. When Jiu turned his head and looked over when he heard this. Really? To be honest, she never understood what the Kao family thought. Kao Mingming was obviously a piece of useless mud, but the Kao family wanted to put their hopes on this piece of mud, and even use the excellent Kaioshishi as a stepping stone. Fortunately, Kaioshishi was clear-headed, and was not kidnapped by the so-called family morality. Oh, why is it a seat in the ordinary stands? Zhang Mian frowned very unhappy. She was annoyed just by looking at the huge crowd. Hearing this, Kao Wanzhan also looked impatient. It's good to have a seat in the stands. I finally got these seats. God knows why so many people come to watch this broken game. Although many people came to watch the previous college competitions, the level of attention was definitely not as high as this one. Therefore, many people from other planets came to join in the fun this time, and everyone had to rely on hand speed to grab seats if they wanted to watch a game. The preliminary round will be held for 4 days, but the seats for the 4 days were taken up a week ago. This is why Kao Wanzhan could only get ordinary stand tickets after using all his connections. Mom, I'm so hot. This place is too sunny. Although Kao Mingming is a few years older, his temper is still the same as before, and he is very angry. He sat in his seat with a chubby face, and his fat was piled up layer by layer. It is not difficult to see how much Zhang Mian and Kao Wanzhan dote on him on weekdays. Baby, mom will spray you with some cooling spray. Zhang Mian quickly took out the cooling spray from the Ziji space and sprayed a layer of Kao Mingming all over his body. In fact, the official has installed machines on the viewing platform and the dual platform to keep the temperature between 18 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius, so you won't feel hot sitting here or standing on the stage. But Kao Mingming is a spoiled child. He has to breathe for a long time after walking 2 steps, not to mention sitting here in the sun. If it weren't for that damn girl Kaioshishi, our family wouldn't have to suffer here. Kao Wanzhan looked at Kao Mingming, who was sweating profusely, and his disgust for Kaioshishi increased a little more. Hearing this, Zhang Mian echoed with an indignant look on her face. Yeah, the Han family is such a good place. Maybe in the future it can fill the vacancy of the Liu family. Then won't she be able to rise to prominence and enjoy a good life? The damn girl refused to listen to me and wanted to participate in this competition. I want to see how capable she is. Kyle Mingming, who had sprayed the cooling spray, finally felt a little cool. He ignored the complaints of Zhang Mian and Kyle Wan's Han and just looked at the big screen not far away with excitement. Then next, please welcome Kyle Shishi from 3047 College and Han Yashin from Hang's College to the stage. Source: today's update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 1261. The preliminary round is coming for Kyle Shishi had been looking forward to this moment for a long time. Not only did she lose her nervousness the moment she entered the stage, she even became calm and composed. She calmly glanced at the viewing platform, and when she saw the bright pink, she couldn't help but bend her eyebrows. Han Yashing, who was standing opposite her, did not look up at the viewing platform, and the other party was still staring at her with the eyes of looking at the goods. Seeing this, she immediately retracted her sight and quickly adjusted her state. Next, she will do her best to defeat the person in front of her. The two contestants have already entered the stage. Where are the cheers? The spotlight instantly illuminated the entire duel stage, and the big screen also clearly displayed the situation on the stage. The host left the duel stage long before the contestants entered the stage, so after the host quickly read out the rules of the game, a glowing semicircular barrier rose on the duel stage. Countdown 1 minute. Contestants, please stand in the designated position as soon as possible. As the cold mechanical voice came, Kyle Shishi strode to the back and walked to the designated position to prepare for the battle. Countdown 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Start fighting. Upon hearing this, a cluster of orange-red flames suddenly ignited at Kyle Shishi's fingertips. Without any hesitation, she quickly fired a series of firebombs in the direction of Han Yashing that were difficult to avoid. One after another, the firebombs flew out quickly, and they were about to hit Han Yashing, but he didn't even move to dodge, just smiled and raised the shield on the spot. In his opinion, there was no need to dodge these firebombs at all, and he was willing to raise the shield as a respect for Kyle Shishi. Let's make a bet, 10 or 5. After Chu Jiayan glanced at the big screen, he turned his head and invited Wen Jiu to discuss. Upon hearing this, Wen Jiu just stretched out his left index finger calmly. I bet 1. As soon as she finished speaking, exclamations rang out all around. She looked at the big screen and saw that Han Yashing, who was standing in place with neat clothes, was lying on the stage with a charred body. Is this true? Han Yashing was defeated by that girl in one blow? Impossible. Didn't Han Yashing take the game seriously? That was the most basic firebomb among the fire-related abilities. Han Yashing is at least the second in Hangzhi Academy. He shouldn't be defeated by a basic skill. TSK, could it be that Kyle Shishi cheated? The players waiting in the lounge were all stunned by the real-time picture in front of them. They only saw the beautiful girl named Kyle Shishi launching a firebomb attack on Han Yashing on the other side of the duel stage. Han Yashing used the gold-related ability to construct a shield in the first place. If nothing unexpected happened, he would be able to take on this attack effortless. Therefore, they didn't watch the game seriously at first, and even had the leisure to talk about their own things in the academy. They never thought that Han Yashing's shield was broken by Kyle Shishi's firebomb in the blink of an eye. Another second passed, and Han Yashing, who was originally smiling, fell on the stage with panic in his eyes. The bright dark green competition uniform was burned with holes one after another by the flames. You should know that the competition uniforms worn by the contestants are all specially customized by the official, with certain protective capabilities to protect the contestants. So it is not difficult to see that if Han Yashing had not raised the shield just now, the flames would probably burn even more vigorously. It is hard to say whether Han Yashing's life can be saved at that time. Han Yashing is the second place of our Hang's Academy. How could he be defeated by this girl in one blow? Could he be paid to act? Listen to what you are saying. Han Yashing is the beloved young master of the Han family. He will not be short of star coins if anyone is short of them. Besides, the opponent is randomly selected by the system. No one knows who his opponent is before the draw. Is it possible that Han Yashing really has sympathy for women? Otherwise, I can't figure it out. No matter how hard I try, he would be defeated by this girl. Several contestants who came out of Hang's academy to participate in the competition gathered in front of the viewing screen to discuss. They didn't deliberately lower their voices, so everyone in the lounge could hear what they were saying. Minahan sat at a distance from the screen, and she felt angry just listening to those people's discussions. But before she could open her mouth to refute, she saw several girls walked in front of the screen and rolled their eyes at those who made malicious speculations. What's so great about the second place of Hang's academy? He is not the second place in the college competition. Look how anxious you guys are. Besides, Han Yashin was careless and underestimated the enemy and was directly burned by the firebomb. Isn't it normal for him to end up like this? Can you stop making malicious speculations? Do you really think that your Hang's academy is the only one on planet 3047? There are nearly 100 preparatory military academies participating in the college competition this time. The second place from your Hang's academy is nothing. How many of those who can break through the siege and come to this college competition are weak and easy to bully? Why can't girls beat boys? In the interstellar age, there are still people who discriminate against sex. Be careful that the 8th military region will send female soldiers to beat you up. Hearing this, most of the people around agreed and echoed a few words, saying that they also felt that there was nothing wrong with this game. Everyone is the pride of their own academy. Who is not the second or third in the internal competition? Why should they be inferior to Han Yashin? You guys. The boy who said Han Yashin was paid to act was angry when he saw that everyone was now leaning towards Kyoshi. That girl has thin arms and legs and a pretty face. Anyone who sees her will know that she got in through the back door. I believe someone else can beat Han Yashin in one blow, but I just don't believe this girl can do it. Minahan just found it funny when she heard this. She left her seat and walked towards the crowd. Believe it or not, who do you think you are? She stood in front of the boy with her arms folded. Kyoshi is the first place in our 3047 college internal competition. It must be easy for her to beat the second place in your Hangzhou college. As soon as she finished speaking, the girl next to her was very surprised and said, "Wow, I didn't expect Kyoshi to be so good. She is actually the first place in the internal competition." Hearing this, she couldn't help but smile happily. Yes, Kyoshi is really super good. And she works very hard. Although she lost to Kyoshi in the internal competition, she was still proud of her. Because outstanding girls are worthy of her praise. However, just as she finished her compliments, she heard the boy say in a sarcastic tone, 3047 college is a garbage college that everyone knows. What's there to brag about for the number one student here? I think she was just lucky this time and met Han Yashin and underestimated him. If she meets a Han's number one student next time, she will definitely be pressed to the ground and rubbed hard. Don't you think so? Brother Men Crossing. Today's update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 1262. The preliminary round is coming 5. After the conversation, the people who had led the discussion about Kyoshi turned their heads and looked at a quiet corner. There sat a thin man, with thick golden bangs covering his eyebrows and eyes, revealing only the lower half of his face, which was as pale as snow. His thin lips were abnormally dark blue, and he looked like a seriously ill patient. Anyone who saw him would feel sorry for him. However, such a person who looked powerless successfully won the first place in the internal competition of Hang's college. After feeling everyone's gaze, he only raised the corners of his mouth and showed a smile, and then continued to lower his head to fiddle with the mecha model in his hand, as if the person whose name was called just now was not him. Seeing this, Minahan couldn't help but frown. She had been in the lounge for so long, and it can be said that she had walked around every corner, but it was the first time she saw this person named Mengzin. Although they only looked at each other very briefly just now, she still felt the dangerous aura of the other party. This person is definitely not as fragile and harmless as he looks. At the same time, Kyoshi bowed to the camera with a smile, and then raised her hand to greet the cheering audience. No one expected that she could beat Han Yashin to surrender with just one skill. Ahem, such a small body with great energy. Congratulations to Kyoshi from 3047 Academy for winning this game. She successfully got the precious spot to the semi-finals. As soon as the host finished speaking, the audience applauded even louder. Although there is a gap in strength between the contestants, they are all elites from various academies after all, and it is still difficult to end the game so quickly. Therefore, the audience present were all surprised by Kyoshi's quick victory, and even the audience in the official live broadcast room all use the word fierce woman. But there are always a few people who are particularly jealous of Kyoshi. What do you mean? That damned girl Kyoshi won. Zhang Mian's eyes widened in disbelief. She beat the precious son of the Han family? Hearing this, Kyo Wan's Han, who was standing by, said half angrily and half worriedly, "That's a member of the Han family. How dare that damned girl? Oh, I have to go and see what's going on with the child of the Han family." After saying that, he straightened his clothes and hurriedly left the viewing platform, heading straight for the passage, where the medical staff had just taken Han Yashin away. If someone who didn't know the situation saw it, they would probably think that his child was Han Yashing, not the winner Kyoshi. When Zhang Mian saw Kyo Wan's hand leaving, she wanted to pull Kyo Mingming to follow him, but Kyo Mingming stood there, and no matter how she pulled him, he didn't move like a pile of meat. "Mom, I want to fight too." Hearing this, she couldn't help but laugh awkwardly and said, "My dear, this fighting is so scary. It's better to go with mom to find dad. After we find dad, we can buy you delicious and fun things." How could she let Kyo Mingming get involved in these things? The other party was just an ordinary person without superpowers, and even his mental level was a bit low. It was precisely because of this that she had repeatedly planned to attack Kyoshi. However, Kyo Mingming didn't listen to her words and sat on the ground crying and making a fuss. "I want to fight. I want to fight. Why can Kyoshi go but I can't? She, a conscienceless ungrateful person, can go. Why can't I go?" Because the game was over at this time, Kyo Mingming's fuss quickly attracted the attention of people around him. Everyone knew that the winner of this game was Kyoshi, so many people showed expressions of disgust, contempt, or disdain after hearing what Kyo Mingming said. Zhang Mian has always been a face saver, so she naturally noticed everyone's expressions. She could only walk over and pull Kyo Mingming, coaxing and pulling him away. But Kyo Mingming's ability to cling is really amazing. No matter how Zhang Mian coaxes or pulls him, he refuses to get up, which makes everyone even more speechless. "Baby, don't you want the new mecha of the lake group? You go with your mother to find your father, and your mother will buy you that mecha in a few days, okay?" Although Kyo Mingming can't drive a mecha at all, this does not prevent him from spending money to collect mechas. Anyway, he is the baby of the family, and he can have whatever he wants. But he doesn't want that mecha at all at the moment. He just wants to go on stage and have a good fight with Kyoshi, so that everyone knows that this so-called super powerful female contestant is just a waste that he can easily knock down. Even if Kyoshi has superpowers, so what? She still has to be bullied by him. However, before he had time to resist Zhang Mian again, he was dragged into the air by a hand holding his clothes. The sudden feeling of being in the air made him panic. He quickly opened his eyes and twisted his body. It was because of this that he realized that the person holding him was not Zhang Mian, but a girl he didn't know. If you can't take care of your own children, don't bring them out, so as not to affect everyone's mood of watching the game. Wen Jiu shook Kyo Mingming up and down with disgust, scaring this pile of meat to struggle more violently, and even the crying was much more piercing than before. Seeing this, Zhang Mian immediately became furious and said, "Put my son down quickly. If anything happens to him, I won't forgive you." Oh. Wen Jiu let go of her hand and threw Kyo Mingming to the ground. Because the distance she lifted Kyo Mingming was not high, the other party didn't suffer any injuries after falling down, but just felt unbearable pain. By the way, this pain was really nothing to her, just like being scratched by Hukiki and Hubaba. But for the spoiled Kyo Mingming, the pain of falling was no different from being stabbed. So within a minute, Kyo Mingming started howling again. Oh, baby, don't cry, mommy is here." Zhang Mian first coaxed Kyo Mingming anxiously, and then yelled at Wen Jiu angrily, "Who are you? Why did you hit my baby?" You are such a low-class girl. Look at what you did to my baby. Don't even think about leaving if you don't give me compensation today." Hearing this, Wen Jiu was about to laugh at Kao Mingming when he heard the strange man who was watching the show nearby say, "You are the one who has no class. It's okay that you don't take care of your own children in public, but you let your children insult and slander the contestants here at will. Do you know that your child's behavior is enough to be asked to leave by the staff and banned from watching the game? Update, update, update little angels. Check, check, check 030. Chapter 1263 just set up a stall 1. The man had just finished speaking when the girl next to him said, "That's right. It was you who ignored your child and made a fuss. I think it's okay for this young lady to help. Besides, your child is as fat as a bull. How can he fall from such a height? Don't try to touch the young lady here." Maybe it was because of the comments of these two passers-by, or maybe it was because Kao Mingming was too annoying. In short, within a minute, many people echoed and said that Kao Mingming's behavior was too much. Although Zhang Mian wanted to refute these people, she was a person who valued her face more than her child. She could only pick up Kao Mingming and leave quickly, fearing that if she left a little later, she would be photographed by some people who like to watch the fun with their smart rings. Seeing this, Chu Jian, who arrived late, couldn't help but chuckle. Oh, I thought she loved her son so much, but in the end, she valued her own face more. It was precisely because Zhang Mian and Kao Wanzan were so face conscious that they had been unable to do anything to Kao Shishi for so many years. Whenever the two of them wanted to stir up trouble, Kao Shishi would use this to fight back. Zhang Mian and Kao Wanzan didn't want their family affairs to be spread to the so-called upper class and become a joke, so they could only watch Kao Shishi fly high like an eagle. All they could do now was to act like a clown and occasionally discuss Kao Shishi. Have Xiao Bangli and Feng Feng gone to the stall? Wen Jiu saw Zhang Mian and Kao Mingming leave, so he turned around and prepared to leave with Chu Jian. Because Kao Shishi had to return to the lounge after the game and could not leave until all the games for the day were completed, Wen Jiu had to go back to the stall area to continue setting up the stall. It was just that Wen Jiu had just heard Kao Mingming insulting Kao Shishi and felt speechless and funny, so he stayed in the viewing platform to find an opportunity to teach Kao Mingming a lesson. Now that Zhang Mian and Kao Mingming are gone, Wen Jiu should naturally go back to the stall to set up the stall. They just sent a message in the group saying that everything is ready and they are just waiting for you to go over to start business. Chu Jian first whispered back to Wen Jiu, then turned his head away as if unintentionally. Just as he heard, there were indeed two strangers following behind him and Wen Jiu. One man and one woman. Although they looked a little nervous, there was no malice in their eyes. "Let's go." Wen Jiu suddenly interrupted Chu Jian's investigation. "The customers are still waiting for us to open." When she said the word customers, she pretended to emphasize her tone unintentionally. After that, she quickened her pace to the booth area. Because it was time to wait for the game to start, many spectators came out to visit the booths and buy things. When Wen Jiu and Chu Jian arrived at the booth, they found that the customers lined up in a long line. Seeing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but ask in confusion, "What's going on?" Sister Jiu, you have to promise that you won't beat my brother up." Ziqingyu scratched her head, half embarrassed and half shy. Wen Jiu could guess from what she heard that this scene must be related to Ziziu. Although she wanted to catch Ziqingyu and ask her what was going on, she couldn't ignore the fact that there were so many customers in line. So she had to wash her hands, disinfect them, and put on an apron, and get rid of these customers in line first. This stall only supplies sweet and sour cold noodles, silkworm potatoes, ice jelly, and mung bean soup today. Customers in need, please line up in an orderly manner to come to my side to place orders, pay, and take things. Thank you. Although there were many customers in line, Wen Jiu and others were not panicked because they had assigned their work early in the morning and prepared all kinds of ingredients. So when they opened the shop, everything was very orderly. Ziqingyu was responsible for communicating with customers, to place orders and check out. Stephanie was responsible for packing the prepared dishes, and Wen Jiu and Chu Jian were responsible for making the dishes together. Hello, I want 2 servings of mung bean soup and 2 servings of sweet and sour cold noodles. Oh, yes, please add 2 servings of Cheyenne potatoes. Unlike other customers who had lined up long ago, Xianxin and Li Lang stood at the end of the line and started waiting when the stall was about to open. Although the 2 of them came a little late, fortunately there were still dishes when they got to the line. Okay, please scan here to pay. Your dishes will be here soon. The handsome boy in charge of placing orders and collecting payments was very polite, and he had 2 small dimples when he smiled, which made Xianxin really couldn't help but look at him twice more. Seeing this, Li Lang couldn't help but whispered with some dissatisfaction, "This little boy is just a little bit good looking. What's so good about him? Oh, are some people jealous?" Xianxin retracted her gaze after hearing this and walked to the side to continue waiting for the order. To be honest, the handsome boy just now is really good looking, with fair and tender skin. I really want to ask him what skincare products he usually uses. After hearing this, Li Lang shook his head speechlessly. How could I be jealous? What I mean is that we rarely have the opportunity to come here, so we should stare at Sister Fa-Ke more instead of looking at those insignificant passers-by. That's right, Xianxin and Li Lang are both die-hard fans of Gongzi Fa-Ke. After learning that Planet 3047 would hold a college competition, the 2 wanted to take advantage of their recent free time to travel to Planet 3047. You can watch the exciting competition and check in at Taoiao of Gongzi Fa-Ke, which is the best of both worlds. They posted their plans to travel to Planet 3047 in the group of money fans. Although it is common for money fans to travel to Planet 3047 under the influence of Gongzi Fa-Ke, they still envy it. In addition to envy, there are still many money fans who have been to Planet 3047 before, and they sent Xianxin and Li Lang a travel guide to Planet 3047. This guide was summarized by money fans who have been to Planet 3047. It can be said that it records in great detail the places they think are most worth visiting. For example, Taoiao, which was founded by Gongzi Fa-Ke, the 3047 Academy where Gongzi Fa-Ke studied, and the Wen Jiu restaurant that Gongzi Fa-Ke once opened. In short, most of them are places related to Gongzi Fa-Ke. Xianxin and Li Lang met Gongzi Fa-Ke himself, that is, Wen Jiu, by chance when they went to 3047 Academy to check in. The 2 did not mean to disturb Wen Jiu's life, so they left quietly at that time. But they did not expect to meet Wen Jiu, their big baby in their hearts, again when they came to watch the academy competition today. After learning that Wen Jiu would set up a stall in the stall area, the 2 of them followed him tacitly. Although they really had no intention of disturbing Wen Jiu, the 2 of them really couldn't resist the temptation of delicious food. Thinking of this, Xianxin couldn't help but sigh. But before she could say anything, she saw a beautiful girl with pink and blue hair handing her a big bag. "Hello, the food you ordered has all been packed. There are tables and chairs over there where you can sit and eat slowly. I wish you a pleasant meal. Today's update has been delivered by the little author. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 1264 just set up a stall too. After Xianxin thanked the beautiful girl in front of him, she took the bag and found a place to sit down with Li Language. Although they really wanted to see Gongzi Fa-Ke's true face again, they also knew that Gongzi Fa-Ke didn't like to be disturbed by fans. Therefore, they didn't go to Gongzi Fa-Ke to recognize him in the end, but only sent the photos of the food to the money fan group to show off. Galaxy sweetheart, I'm here to poison. Sweet and sour cold noodles picture, green bean soup picture, silkworm potato picture, pumpkin daguanan. Can the group owner come out and bang sweetheart for a week? Big brother monkey. It's a pity that I have too much work recently and don't have time to travel. Otherwise I would also buy an interstellar spaceship ticket to go to planet 3047 to play. The man like the wind, brother king, come out and silence sweetie. Otherwise, I'm going to get red-eye disease if this continues. Why do you all have time to go to planet 3047? Once how, working people really envy you students who can run around freely. I've been working overtime every day recently. let alone traveling. It's hard to even take a half-day break. Ding dang 20. To be honest, I want to know if Cheyenne can Tudao is delicious. When Sister Fake was still working in the cafeteria, I was craving for it. Brother King actually silenced me. Before Cheyenne Zing could reply, she found that her chat box was grey. Hearing this, Li Lang, who had just opened a bag and arranged the food, replied, "You are showing off in the group, and it would be strange if Brother King didn't ban you. Oh, forget it, just bear it." When Chris posted that he had met Sister Fake before, Brother King banned him for a whole month. Your ban of 1 week is still good. That's true. Shinezin smiled with relief. Let's eat quickly. I'm hungry after watching the game for so long. As she spoke, she took the box of sweet and sour cold noodles. She had been craving for this when she watched Gongzi Fake's live broadcast, but unfortunately her hand speed was too slow at that time, and she didn't get to try the sweet and sour cold noodles. The box was filled with grey-black noodles, and there were also thinly cut cucumber shreds and runny eggs cut in half. "Do you want to eat this first?" Li Lang picked up 2 boxes and handed them over. "There are some ingredients for sweet and sour cold noodles here. They said you can add them according to your preferences." Hearing this, she quickly took the box and added all the ingredients inside. Then pour the orange red soup on the cold noodles, and you can start to enjoy it with chopsticks. Anyway, she is not picky about food, as long as the food tastes good. After adding all the ingredients, she first took a photo and posted it on WeChat Moments, and then picked up the noodles and tasted them carefully. Unlike ordinary wheat noodles, buckwheat noodles taste more refreshing. Coupled with this sour and sweet cold soup, it makes people's appetite increase. In the hot summer, Shyamzin originally had no appetite, but after she ate 2 bites of sweet and sour cold noodles, she felt that she was very hungry now. Let alone eating this bowl of sweet and sour cold noodles, it would not be a problem for her to eat a cow raw. The crispy cucumber shreds and spicy kimchi are also very delicious. When chewing, you can taste the sweet and sour soup mixed in, making your tongue dance in the layers of flavor. Add half a runny egg. The rich egg liquid and the soup combine to create another flavor that is irresistible. Before she knew it, Shyamzin had eaten the whole bowl of sweet and sour cold noodles, without even a drop of soup left. Wow, this sweet and sour cold noodles is so delicious. She looked at the empty bowl and shed tears of hunger. When I think about not being able to eat such delicious cold noodles in the future, my heart feels as cold as if I had been killing fish in the supermarket for 10 years. Hearing this, Li Lang, who had just finished a portion of Cheyenne potato, laughed and said, "Oh, the pickled fish cooking pack is on the market. So how long will the sweet and sour cold noodles cooking pack be?" I believe Sister Fake will definitely launch more cooking packs in the future. Although he said this, in his true heart, he hoped that Sister Fake would launch Cheyenne potato cooking packs. Please, who would not like to eat Cheyenne potato that is crispy, fragrant, spicy and refreshing? The two chatted and ate while eating, and soon finished the food, leaving only 2 servings of mung bean soup. Sister Fake gave me so much, I'm so full. Shyamzin looked at the remaining 2 cups of mung bean soup and couldn't help burping. No, I can't eat anymore. Although Li Lang was also full, it was still no problem for him to drink a cup of mung bean soup. However, after thinking for a moment, he put the mung bean soup back into the insulation bag and put away the used box and chopsticks. Since you are full, save these 2 cups of mung bean soup for later. He threw the collected garbage into the recycling station. It just so happens that the next game is about to start, and you can drink mung bean soup while watching the game. He was quite interested in this year's college competition, so he specially booked a few more games when booking the game. Hearing this, Shyamzin nodded happily and said, "Great, it just so happens that I don't have to buy other drinks." It must be said that compared to those strange drinks, she still prefers the mung bean soup made by Gongzi Fake. So she took Li Lang's arm and strode towards the stadium. A new game was about to start, and the audience poured into the stadium to take their seats. Although there was a special temperature control machine in the viewing platform, which could keep the audience in a comfortable environment, everyone would still feel the summer heat while strolling outside and waiting. Oh, why is there no temperature control machine in the booth area? Xianxin was sweating a lot from the heat and kept spraying cooling spray on her body. Sure enough, low-level planets are low-level planets, and the technology can't compare with ours. After she finished speaking, she suddenly realized that what she said was wrong, so she quickly patted her mouth and changed her words. I don't look down on low-level planets. The natural environment here is still pretty good. I just feel that this place is not as convenient as ours. It's not her fault for thinking this way. She was originally from a mid-level planet. Before becoming a fan of Gongzi Fake, she had never thought about coming to a low-level planet. After all, everyone knows the truth. People go to high places and water flows to low places. People who grew up on a mid-level planet will naturally only think about going to a high-level planet. Hearing this, Lilang nodded in understanding and then handed over a cup of mung bean soup. I understand what you mean. Drink a cup of mung bean soup first. It's normal to feel irritated because of the heat. Today's update has also been delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 1265 just set up a stall 3. Xianxin was a little thirsty at the moment, so she took the mung bean soup handed over by Li language. The mung bean soup was slightly cool and slightly sweet. After the sweet liquid fell into the throat, you could taste the mung beans left between your lips and teeth. A light chew will turn it into sand, soft and dense, with a little sweetness. Xianxin drank more than half a cup of mung bean soup in one breath. She really liked this perfect sweetness. How is it? Do you feel much better? Lilang looked at Xianxin beside him and quickly handed her a tissue. Hearing this, Xianxin wiped her mouth and whispered, indeed, it seems that what everyone says about eating desserts when you are in a bad mood is true. The two chatted while drinking mung bean soup, and soon it was time for the game to start. There were a lot of spectators coming to this game, and many people were standing in the viewing stand to watch. Why are there so many people in this competition? Xianxin looked around in confusion. Look at the back, it's full. Lilang first opened the local forum and took a look, then whispered back, I just took a look on the local forum. It is said that this game is a duel between the top 2 colleges, so there are a lot of people coming to watch the game. Oh, no wonder there are so many people coming to watch the game. Which 2 colleges are the top? Xianxin's curiosity increased when she heard Lilang's words. Lilang didn't feel annoyed, just patiently answered Xianxin's question. It seems to be the first place of Hang's College and the first place of Shenkei College. These 2 colleges are considered very powerful colleges on planet 3047. As the two chatted, they saw the contestants on stage, and the host also left the duel stage. This means that the game is about to begin. Unlike the strong contestant Xianxin imagined, the first place from Hang's College is thin, as if he would be blown away by the wind. So when Xianxin saw the big screen, she blinked in confusion. Is this really the number 1 player? Why does he look worse than me? Maybe it's because he usually stays in the studio to study mechas. Lilang is a soldier who graduated from a military academy, and he has seen more people than Xianxin. Many mecha masters are like this, because they are too focused on studying mechas and rarely go out for training, so they look very weak. In fact, he was also confused at first, because the preparatory military academy mainly cultivates students' physical fitness and supernatural powers, and rarely involves mechas, so he didn't think about mecha masters at first. It wasn't until he heard people around him talking about that the player was very good at mecha combat that he suddenly remembered the mecha masters he had seen. Most of them were sickly and fell down on the deputy horse. But there was one thing he found particularly strange. The preparatory military academy mainly cultivates students' physical fitness and supernatural powers. So how could this player embark on the path of a mecha master so early? The other party looked only 15 or 16 years old, and should be the age when he just came into contact with mechas. Logically speaking, it would be great if he could master all the operations of the mecha at this age. But somehow, the audience sitting next to him said that this contestant was particularly good at mecha combat. This was really too unbelievable. But before he had time to think about it, he heard the host announce the start of the competition. The contestant who was not favored by him, and Xianxin summoned the mecha, provided by the official in the blink of an eye. As soon as the black and gold mecha appeared, it transformed the mechanical arms on both sides into extremely sharp blades, and then swooped to the other side of the duel stage. The mecha standing on the other side of the duel stage did not stand there, and immediately turned the mechanical arm into a defensive shield, and quickly opened the supernatural shield, to dodge to the side. I just looked at the posts on the local forum, Xianxin whispered, while browsing the local forum. I thought the player who looked sick just now was called Mengzin. He was the first in the internal competition of Hong's college. I heard that, as long as he used mechas to fight, he could kill his opponent within 3 moves. Hiss, are the people on low-level planets so scary now? But the player he is fighting against this time is not bad either. He is 3 years older than him, has learned 3 more years of mecha knowledge, and is the first in the internal competition of Shenkei College. It may be difficult for him to kill the opponent within 3 moves. Before Xianxin finished speaking, she heard Li Lang beside her exclaim. When she heard the voice, she looked up at the big screen, and saw that the left mechanical arm of the black and gold mecha had been half immersed in the fuselage of the red and white mecha. The clicking sound of the damaged fuselage and the clattering sound of parts falling kept ringing, as if the clock was reminding the red and white mecha of the death countdown. Seeing this, she couldn't help swallowing her saliva. Can this red and white mecha still fight back? It can't fight back. Li Lang shook his head half in surprise and half in excitement. Mengzin's mecha arm is about to reach the mecha core. In less than 3 seconds Li Lang was only halfway through his words when he saw the red and white mecha on the big screen, shattered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then, the black and gold mecha withdrew its mecha arm that had just penetrated deep into it, and Ben's dark palm was holding a light blue energy stone. In just a blink of an eye, the hand with a metallic luster pulled back vigorously and crushed the light blue energy stone. The result is obvious. Mengzin, who was driving the black and gold mecha, won the game. Brother Lang, how did Mengzin attack? Xianxin listened to the cheers around her with a blank face, and only hated that she was just browsing the local forum and eating melons, and didn't watch the game seriously. Hearing this, Li Lang, who was cheering excitedly, immediately turned around and said, he used the sharp knife converted from the mechanical arm and his superpowers to directly cut off the left and right arms of the red and white mecha, and then cut into the opponent's superpower shield, and then took advantage of the victory to pierce the fuselage of the red and white mecha. As for the back, it's what you see. Xianxin was stunned when she heard this. She still remembered what was said in the forum post. As long as Mengzin drives the mecha to fight, no matter who the opponent is, he will be defeated by Mengzin within 3 moves. At first, she thought the description of this post was a bit exaggerated, but she didn't expect that Mengzin was really a capable person. Sure enough, it's right to walk around more. If she hadn't come to planet 3047 this time, she really didn't know that there were so many powerful people on low-level planets. Thinking about it, she left the viewing platform with Li Lang, planning to go to the booth area again. Maybe she could see Gongzi Fake again. Today's update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 1266. The rematch is coming 1. However, Xianxin's wish was doomed to fail, because when Jiu and others had packed up their stalls and left the stall area as early as the start of the game. Although when Jiu expected that there would be many customers when she set up her stall, she did not expect that her business would be so popular. She only set up the stall for more than 40 minutes, and all the food she brought was sold out. Because her main purpose of setting up the stall this time was not to earn star coins, she and her friends packed up the stall after the food was sold out, and went to the place where the contestants were said to gather to wait. When Jiu and others waited in this place for a long time, until the sky darkened, and the stars and the moon came out, and then they saw Kaioshishi with a smile on her face. Everyone was happy for Kaioshishi's victory, and when Jiu also made a sumptuous meal after returning home, it was not only to celebrate Kaioshishi's victory in the game, but also to wish Zikingayu a smooth game. When Zikingayu closed his stall in the afternoon, he received a notice from the official competition. He will draw a number tomorrow morning to participate in the second round of the preliminary competition. Fortunately, Wen Jiu had agreed to set up a stall with Ziziu before, so there was no need to worry about not being able to watch the game without an appointment. So everyone went back to their rooms after eating and drinking, and set off to the venue together the next morning. Just like Kyoshishi's previous competition process, Zikingayu was picked up as soon as she arrived at the venue. Wen Jiu and others were not idle either. Before waiting for the lottery to begin, they started selling breakfast in the stall area. Selling breakfast. There are delicious dumplings. Hot and delicious mushroom chicken porridge. There are also crispy fried dough sticks bought and fried, and the store's own pickled side dishes that go well with rice. Because Zikingayu went to the venue to prepare for the lottery, Kyoshishi was responsible for soliciting customers to place orders today. Maybe it was because Wen Jiu's business was particularly good yesterday, so many customers came as soon as they opened today. In just half an hour, all the various dishes prepared by Wen Jiu were sold out. The most popular ones are Wen Jiu's fried dough sticks. Many customers buy them and eat them while watching the game. TSK, I don't think we sold many dough sticks. Why are these people eating them? Chu Jian saw many people eating dough sticks as soon as he entered the main venue where the lottery ceremony was held. Hearing this, Kyoshishi smiled and replied, while looking for a seat, we still sold a lot of dough sticks. 9 out of 10 customers bought dough sticks. That's not true. Wen Jiu yawned lazily. Fortunately, Zizio has a conscience and sent a lot of cooking machines. Otherwise, I would have been frying dough sticks all the time, and I'm afraid people would have fainted from the frying. After the voice fell, everyone couldn't help but pursed their lips and smiled, and then found a seat and sat down, waiting for the lottery ceremony to start. Because there was no opening ceremony today, the lottery ceremony started directly after the host finished speaking. When Zikingayu came on stage, the cheers were quite loud. Stephanie commented on this, that everyone likes good-looking people or things. However, no matter how loud the cheers earned, by relying on one's luck, they cannot compare to the applause won by one's strength. I don't know what kind of bad luck Zikingayu has. She actually drew the third place of Shenkei College. According to the local forum, the third place is best at fighting duels. So Kyoshishi prayed silently, hoping that Zikingayu would not be drawn to a fighting duel. Because she knew that Zikingayu's weakest point was fighting duels. It's a pity that things didn't go as planned. Zikingayu was a bad player and really drew a fighting duel. The match between Zikingayu and the third place of Shenkei College was held in the afternoon, so Wen Jiu and others went home for lunch at noon and brought more ingredients and meals to the stall area to prepare for sale. After all, they promised Zizio to set up a stall, so they naturally couldn't give up halfway. I don't know if Zio Banli can do it. Kyoshishi became nervous as soon as she entered the competition venue. I feel that I'm more nervous now than when I competed yesterday. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shrugged his shoulders. Don't be too nervous. You have to believe in Zio Banli. Although he now focuses on mecha research, his fighting skills and supernatural powers are all impressive. She was not worried about Zikingayu's competition because she believed that she would definitely win. Although Zikingayu only wanted to study mechas and become a mecha master now, she had not neglected other training over the years. So, she just ate pumpkin seeds while waiting for the competition to start. Zio Jiu, I want to eat pumpkin seeds too. Stephanie really likes the pumpkin seeds fried by Wen Jiu. There is a faint sweet and creamy fragrance, which is especially delicious. As she spoke, she grabbed a handful of pumpkin seeds and ate them while waiting for the competition to start. After about 10 minutes, Zikingayu's competition officially began. The current Zikingayu has changed her usual peaceful smile and has a proud and cold face that Wen Jiu and others rarely see. PFFT, Wen Jiu really couldn't help but chuckle. I haven't seen Zio Banli like this for a long time. It makes me feel like I'm back to when I first entered the 3047 Academy a few years ago. She still remembered that when she first entered the 3047 Academy, Zikingayu was as arrogant and domineering as she is now. It was not until she suffered several losses at her hands and was forced to work as a dishwasher in the cafeteria for a long time that she was able to get along well with others and talk normally. I have to say that sometimes she misses the arrogant Zikingayu. Hahaha, me too. Kyoshishi couldn't help but recall when she heard this. When Zio Banli was a dishwasher in the cafeteria, He asked me every day for information about you, Jiu, saying that he wanted to endure hardships and make you a dishwasher. However, Zikingayu did not succeed in the end, and he is still doing the job of washing dishes and cleaning to this day. As the few people were chatting, they saw Zikingayu fighting with the third place of Shenkei College. At the beginning, Zikingayu was still a little unstable and accidentally took a few punches from his opponent, but as time went by, his movements became more and more stable. The third place from Shenkei College is quite capable. Chujian looked at the big screen calmly. He should have learned fighting from retired soldiers from the military. Hearing this, Wen Jiu nodded in agreement and replied, I think so too, because the moves he used were all learned by the soldiers in the military. It's a pity that he didn't learn them for a long time, and these moves can't exert their maximum power. Because Wen Jiu also had retired soldiers from the military to teach fighting, she only watched for a while and saw the tricks. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Zikingayu seize the opportunity and punch the opponent in the chest, knocking the man several meters away. Today's update has also been delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1267. The rematch is coming too. Everyone's eyes were following Zikingayu's every move, and he finally won the victory under everyone's incredible gaze. There was no way the player he was fighting against was full of muscles and was bigger than him in both height and size. Therefore, at the beginning of the game, many people thought he would definitely lose. Unexpectedly, he actually won the victory in the end, and he was not seriously injured. How is it? How is it? Kaioshishi looked at the big screen with concern. Jiu, you have a lot of experience. Take a look. Bangli didn't suffer any serious injuries, right? She remembered that Zikingayu was hit by several punches at the beginning of the game, so she couldn't help but worry that the other party would be injured. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just waved his hand calmly. Don't worry, Bangli is fine. He just got hit by a few punches. If he can't even withstand this injury, how can he participate in the competition later? Besides, there are medical staff in the players' lounge, and they will treat him. Although she was also a little worried about Zikingayu's condition, she saw that Kaioshishi's eyes were full of worry, so she wanted to say something light-hearted to comfort her. Besides, getting hit by a few punches is really nothing, and Zikingayu has suffered more serious injuries before. However, she still thought about what medicine to prepare for Zikingayu. It would be best to make a nourishing medicinal meal, so that the other party can eat it all up. Then she took Kaioshishi and others back to the stall area and set up a stall with the new ingredients and food brought at noon. Just like yesterday afternoon, she and Chujian were responsible for making the food, and Stephanie was responsible for packing the food. The only difference was that Kaioshishi was now responsible for entertaining customers to place orders. However, this change will not have any big impact on Wen Jiu's stall, because Kaioshishi was in charge of this work when she was in the cafeteria. Open delicious and not greasy sweet and sour cold noodles are waiting for you to try. Refreshing and sweet ice jelly is waiting for you to try. There are also Shiankan potatoes that you can eat while watching the game. The fresh and spicy taste is the best at this time. Oh, yes, you can also have a cup of mung bean soup to relieve heat and summer heat. Kaioshishi just shouted a few words, and a large group of people came over. She was a little confused at first, but later she didn't think it was strange. After all, this stall was opened by Wen Jiu, and it was normal for Wen Jiu to attract so many customers with his ability. However, things were not as simple as Kaioshishi thought. The reason why Wen Jiu stall had so many customers this time was mainly because someone promoted it on Zingbo and local forums. Flying dragon in the sky. Rumor that food anchor Gongzi Farke from Bakaliv will set up a stall in the stall area of my Star Academy competition for a limited time. One cannon. Two cannons are cannons. Is this true or not? Is it the Gongzi Farke who opened Teo Iao? Rainy. Gongzi Fake is the chef classmate, right? I can finally eat her dishes again. God knows how much I want to eat her dishes. I regret why I didn't go to the cafeteria more often back then. Galaxy sweetheart, does anyone know where Gongzi Fake will set up a stall? I see that there are several stall areas on the official map. Is there anyone from this planet who can explain it to me? An alien? I will definitely take action. The people from planet 3047 don't know either. The official competition venue this time is newly built and is completely different from the previous venues. So when everyone finds Gongzi Fake, please post a star blog or a post to tell everyone so that they can point the way. Rabbit Red Bean, didn't you all grab seats for the preliminary round? Am I the only one with slow hands who didn't get one? I can't accept it. My conjunctivitis is about to break out. Carp stewed porridge, the person above, calm down a little. There are still semi-finals and finals. It may not be easy to grab a reservation for the finals, but you can still try hard to get a reservation for the semi-finals. The reservation for the semi-finals should be open in the next few days. Remember to pay attention to the official Zingbo to grab seats. Wen Jiu and others are not very clear about the news from Zingbo and the local forum, because they are all busy with their own things, especially Kaioshishi and Zikingayu who passed the preliminary round. The two only rested for half a day and started intensive training. In the previous internal competition of 3047 college, for the sake of fairness, Yu Ruman and Lee Kinson did not provide help to the two and only let them train on their own like other students. But now it is different. Now it is a struggle between colleges. Although the contestants are fighting for their own future, the victory of the contestants will also win benefits for the college and can also add a bit of glory and face to their own college. Therefore, Yu Ruman and Lee Kinson have developed the most suitable training plans for all participating students of 3047 Academy. Kaioshishi and Zikingayu, as students of 3047 Academy, are no exception. They both have their own exclusive training plans. It is precisely because of this that they will train harder after the preliminary round. As they practiced, the day of the rematch came. How are you two preparing? There should be no problem, right? Chujayan brought the soup cooked by Wen Jiu to the small garden so that Zikingayu and Kaioshishi, who had just finished training, could drink some. After the words fell, Zikingayu said breathlessly, "No problem, no problem. I have done more fighting training these days, and I will definitely not be punched again in the next battle." Because Zikingayu was punched by her opponent several times in the preliminary round, Wen Jiu was very considerate and boiled a large pot of medicinal porridge. It must be said that this was a taste that Zikingayu did not want to recall in his life. He never thought that there would be a day when Wen Jiu would cook bad food. Just don't get punched. I don't want to accompany you to drink medicinal porridge anymore. Kaioshishi took a sip of the chicken soup. If you hadn't said that you wanted to test the strength of your opponent and got punched on purpose, Jiu wouldn't have deliberately made a pot of bitter and astringent medicinal porridge to teach you a lesson. Hearing this, Zikingayu couldn't help but pouting in embarrassment. How did I know that Sister Jiu was so cruel? He was interrupted by Chujayan on the side before he finished what he was saying. If your Sister Jiu was cruel, would you still have chicken soups a day? Chujayan chuckled and poked Zikingayu's forehead. She just wants you to learn a lesson. Although the medicinal porridge is bitter, won't all your injuries be healed after you drink it? So, don't say she is cruel anymore. Zikingayu nodded and replied, I know. Oh, I was just joking. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Wen Jiu walking along the gravel road. Huh? What's the joke? The first update of today has been delivered. Please check it out, little angels. 030. Chapter 1268. The rematch is coming 3. Wen Jiu's sudden appearance really scared Zikingayu. If Chujayan hadn't reacted quickly and stood close enough, the bowl of soup in Zikingayu's hand would have fallen to the ground. What's wrong? Wen Jiu looked at Zikingayu, who was standing there in a daze, and Chujayan, who caught the bowl of soup quickly. Are you so nervous? Are you two secretly saying bad things about me? After he finished speaking, Kaioshishi chuckled and said, ha 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 ha, Jiu, don't think too much. Zyobangli is just missing the medicinal porridge you made. It has to be said that when it comes to tea aroma, Kaioshishi is the best. When Jiu tasted something, when he heard this, I see, Zyobangli is complaining that the medicinal porridge I made is unpalatable, right? Alas, my efforts have been wasted. No, no. Zikingayu hurriedly explained, while wiping her hands with paper. I said that the medicinal porridge tastes a little worse, but the effect is really good. Sister Jiu, I will be careful in the next game, and I promise not to mess up. When he thought of the bitter and hard to swallow medicinal porridge made by Wen Jiu, he couldn't help shuddering. If he could be given a chance to start over, he would be careful to deal with his opponents in the game. Hearing this, Wen Jiu didn't care much, but only reminded Zikingayu and Kaioshishi to be careful in the rematch. I know, Sister Jiu. Zikingayu nodded and agreed. I will be careful. After all, the rules of the rematch have changed. Unlike the previous preliminary round, which only had one game, and was still a random selection battle mode, the next rematch will be conducted in a 3-game 2-win comprehensive showdown. The 3 duels are fighting duel, superpower duel and mecha duel. As long as the contestants can win 2 of them, they can get a ticket to the finals. After the preliminary screening, there are more than 200 contestants left. That is to say, at least half of the people will be eliminated in the next semi-final. But after the semi-finals, it will be the finals. If we follow the rule of eliminating half, then when the finals start, won't there be more than 100 contestants left? After Kaioshishi finished drinking the soup, she put the bowl on the stone table. There was also a plate of fruit on the stone table, which was carefully cut by Stephanie. The shape was very beautiful and delicate, with flower shapes and bunny shapes. Shishi, didn't you read the official notification email? Zikingayu took a flower-shaped apple and ate it. The competition system of the semi-finals has changed a lot. In addition to the new rule of 2 wins in 3 games, there are also rules about elimination. As he spoke, he clicked on his light screen panel and quickly found the official email so that Kaioshishi could see the specific rules. However, just as he turned up the panel, Wen Jiu and Chujian came over. Although the two did not have to participate in the college competition, they were still very concerned about the situation of the competition. After all, the result of this college competition was related to whether the 5 of them could go to the military academy together. There will be 3 rounds of competition in the semi-finals, and half of the contestants will be eliminated in each round. Chujian understood as he watched. Then by the end of the semi-finals, there will be only more than 20 contestants left. There were more than 200 people in the first round, and more than 100 in the second round. So by the end of the third round, there would be only about 20 contestants left. It was reasonable for more than 20 contestants to participate in the finals. After all, there were a total of 10 places for promotion to the military academy, so there must be 10 winners of the college competition. That's right, Zikingayu nodded in agreement. I hope that Shishi and I can both make it to the finals and successfully get the places for promotion to the military academy. He had been looking forward to this moment for too long. Seeing Chujian and Stephanie leave home to go to the military academy, he didn't know how envious and anxious he was. Now, he finally got to wait for the college competition. Hearing this, Kaioshishi on the side also spoke with anticipation. I like the new rules of the semi-finals very much, so I can have more experience. Although she was still very nervous, she never thought from beginning to end that she would lose in the college competition. Therefore, she wanted to play more games with those players. In this way, she can not only let go and fight to her heart's content, but also find out her own strength in the battle and find out her own shortcomings to make up for it. Both of you should prepare well, Wen Jiu said slowly. After reading the official email, there are many strong players in this competition, so you must be cautious. She specially asked Ruman for a video of the game a few days ago, and found that this college competition was really full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. She thought that it would be easy for Kaioshishi and Zikingayu to get a place, but she didn't expect that there were so many strong players among those players. Among the dozen or so people, there were several who were on par with Kaioshishi and Zikingayu. So she swept away her previous relaxed mood and began to become serious, telling Zikingayu and Kaioshishi not to take it lightly. In the following time, Zikingayu and Kaioshishi were busy with training, and when Jiu and others took care of their lives, Yu Rumen and Zhu Wangming took time out of their busy schedules to come back several times. One of them was to check the training situation of Zikingayu and Kaioshishi, and the other was to come to check the health of the two participating children. Winning the game is important, but physical health must also be paid attention to. However, Zikingayu and Kaioshishi were well taken care of by Wen Jiu and others. It was not a problem to kill a cow with one punch, let alone go to the game in good health. Time passed, and in a blink of an eye it was the day before the start of the rematch. I received a notice to play. Zikingayu had just finished dinner and cleaned up the dishes, thinking of opening the light curtain panel to brush Zingbo for some leisure time, but she received an email from the official. Hearing this, Kaioshishi immediately opened her light screen panel, but unfortunately there was no new email in her mailbox. Hey, it seems that we are not in the same batch of contestants again. She thought she would be in the first batch of contestants again, but she didn't expect that she was not in the first batch this time. Is Zhao Bangli going to participate in the competition tomorrow? Stephanie came over with a look of anticipation. Hey, I look forward to your performance. Will you cry then? As soon as the voice fell, she saw Zikingayu raised her chin. Don't worry, I will definitely win the competition. As for crying, it is absolutely impossible. The second update of the day has also been delivered. Are the little angels surprised? 030. Chapter 1269 will definitely win one. Facts have proved that people should not be too sure of what they say. Zikingayu cried bitterly after a game, and that look really made Wen Jiu and others laugh for a whole week. Of course, this is all later. At present, Zikingayu still firmly believes that she can't cry in the game. Okay, you two should go take a shower quickly. Wen Jiu took Stephanie to his side to prevent her from saying anything shocking again. There are medicinal meals prepared for you in the kitchen. After taking a shower, go get a bowl and eat slowly. In order to allow Kaioshishi and Zikingayu to participate in the game in the best condition, she would make a lot of medicinal meals every day to relieve muscle soreness and keep them energetic. Hearing this, Zikingayu couldn't help but ask carefully, Sister Jiu, you shouldn't add that coptis root to the medicinal meal again, right? He still remembered that when he drank the medicinal porridge for the first time, he was so bitter that he burst into tears because of the coptis root that Wen Jiu put in it. Although Wen Jiu never used bitter coptis root when making medicinal food, he still couldn't help asking, fearing that he would be tricked again. PFFT, don't worry, I didn't put it in this time. Wen Jiu couldn't help laughing. But if you want to drink coptis root medicinal porridge, I can make a pot for you. Tonight she made angelica and ginger mutton soup, and a sleeping inducing dish of stewed pig heart with cypress seeds. The so-called medicinal food must be cooked according to pharmacology. She put a little coptis root in the medicinal porridge before, on the one hand, to teach Zikingayu a lesson, and on the other hand, to match other medicinal materials. Therefore, when she made other medicinal food, she would not put coptis root in it casually. After hearing this, Zikingayu was completely relieved. He picked up the two empty bowls on the stone table and hurried back to the living room with Kaioshishi. It was getting late now. After Wen Jiu chatted with Chujian and Stephanie for a while, they went back to their respective rooms to rest. Wen Jiu had just changed into pajamas and was about to read a book before going to bed when he heard a tiger roar outside his door. He didn't need to look any further to know that it was Suwei. Suwei now has the mental capacity of a 14 or 15-year-old human and can take care of himself without the help of Wen Jiu and others. It's just that there is not enough spiritual energy on planet 3047, so he can't break through himself and practice the magic of transformation. Wen Jiu originally wanted him to try with spirit stones, but Hukiki and Hubaba both said that it's best not to use spirit stones to interfere with the monster's first breakthrough in learning spells. Otherwise, the new monsters will only be able to rely on spirit stones to help them break through in the future, and will never learn how to break through naturally to make themselves stronger. Therefore, Wen Jiu could only give up this idea and let Suwei continue to stay in the tiger form. Anyway, Su Wei has long been accustomed to appearing in the form of a tiger, and it doesn't matter if he can't turn into a human for a while. Are you back from your walk? After Wen Jiu opened the bedroom door, a yellow and white tiger walked in. Take a shower in the bathroom and dry your hair. There is also a mutton soup with angelica, ginger and mutton in the kitchen. Wash yourself and go downstairs to drink it. After the voice fell, Su Wei casually raised his furry paws to indicate that he had washed himself in the bathroom on the first floor. Seeing this, Wen Jiu walked towards the sofa. You came to see me so late, is there something wrong? Because Su Wei's body was getting bigger day by day, Wen Jiu made a nest for him in the living room. In this way, Su Wei could spread out in the living room to sleep, and he didn't have to worry about his snoring disturbing others. Woo. Su Wei walked into the bedroom and lay on the plush mat. Wen Jiu listened carefully for a moment before slowly replying. You want to ask when Hu Kiki and Hu Baba will come back? Well, they will probably come back in July or August. They both have to go to the new school with me. The main reason is that Hu Kiki and Hu Baba have been away from the Desolate Star for too long, and the Snow Fox tribe seems to have some difficult things to deal with, so the two little foxes want to take this time to go back and take a look. If Wen Jiu hadn't had to accompany Zikingayu and Kaioshishi to compete, she would have wanted to go to the Desolate Star to see what happened. Because Hu Kiki said that something happened inside the Snow Fox tribe, she couldn't trouble Mingru Fang to help investigate, and could only wait for the two little foxes to report the news using the communicator. But the two little foxes are still on the way, and no one knows what happened to the Snow Fox tribe. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but sigh. Su Wei seemed to have noticed her worried mood, and quickly came over and touched her hand with his claws. Seeing this, she relaxed her brows and smiled slightly, saying, okay, I'm not that worried. Anyway, no matter what trouble I encounter, I will do my best to solve it. It's getting late, and I have to get up early tomorrow to go to the competition venue. You should go back to the living room and have a good rest. After she finished speaking, she touched Su Wei's head again, and the other party was completely relieved and walked out of the bedroom. In fact, to be honest, it is impossible not to worry. Hu Kiki and Hu Baba are both her good friends, and she also has a friendship with the Snow Fox spirits of the Snow Fox tribe. Besides, there are so many Snow Fox spirits working under her, so how could she not worry about the situation of the Snow Fox tribe? It's just that the two little foxes have not arrived at the Desolate Star yet, and the Snow Fox spirits of the Snow Fox tribe can't explain things clearly in the communicator. It's useless for her to worry more now. Therefore, she can temporarily suppress her worries and continue to accompany Zikingayu and Kaioshishi in the competition. After thinking about it, the sleepiness in her mind disappeared without a trace, and she could only click on the light screen panel to watch Zingbota pass the time. But she scrolled through the star blog and found that there was nothing interesting to see. It was either gossip about the entertainment industry, or news about a certain planet or the federal headquarters. Just as she was about to close the light screen panel and continue reading to get sleepy, she suddenly received a message. Future star of the star blog, Sister Fake. Are you really going to study at the Ria Military Academy? Seeing this, Wen Jiu first recalled who the person who sent the message was, and then slowly typed the message. Congratulations on your wealth. Aren't you a student of the Imperial Capital Military Academy? Why are you so concerned about my affairs? Fortunately, Mingai sent her the message through Bakalev. If the other party contacted her directly through the Star network, they would find out that she was actually Sun Badeo Bendeo. That would be embarrassing. Future star of the star blog, haha, Sister Fake, how did you know I was a student of the Imperial Capital Military Academy? Congratulations on your wealth, you filled in the military academy you are in your information. The first update of the day has been delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 1270 will definitely win too. Wen Jiu really didn't understand. Her relationship with Mingyu was average, so how did the other party know that she was going to Ria Military Academy? You know, she hadn't told Mingyu that she would go to Ria Military Academy. Of course, she didn't deliberately hide it from this partner. It's just that she hasn't decided when she will go, so she didn't tell Mingyu about it. Future star of the stars. Ah, so that's it. Ha 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 ha. So are you really going to Ria Military Academy? Ria Military Academy is the worst of the 5 major military academies. You are so good that you can definitely come to our Imperial Capital Military Academy. Looking at the message sent by Mingyu, Wen Jiu still felt very confused. Why did Mingyu know about this? She didn't publicize that she was going to Ria Military Academy. Just when she was puzzled, the other party took the initiative to send the answer. Future star of the stars, this matter is a bit complicated to talk about, but you have to believe that I have absolutely no ill will towards you. Well, if you want to listen, I can tell you slowly. As soon as Wen Jiu saw the message sent by Mingyu, she knew that there was an information gap between the other party and her. In short, Mingyu didn't know that she had already known her true identity. But it didn't matter if she didn't know. Anyway, this matter was not very important now. So she didn't tell the truth about it, just patiently waiting for Mingyu to tell her. Future star of the stars, my friend's grandfather is familiar with you, and my friend is very curious about you. So he at first, Wen Jiu didn't take it seriously, but when she finished reading the message, she frowned with a cold face. Because she learned from the news revealed by Mingyu that someone had been secretly monitoring her and she didn't find out for so many days. So she felt very angry, funny, and helpless at the same time. Future star of the stars, Sister Fake, I have already taught that person a lesson. If you still feel unhappy, I can reveal his information to you. Maybe it was because Wen Jiu didn't reply to the message, so Mingyu mistakenly thought that she was angry and didn't want to reply. To be honest, she was angry, but she didn't take it out on Mingyu. She understood that every wrong has its perpetrator. So she replied to Mingyu's message and asked for some information about that person. Then she turned off the light screen panel and sat on the sofa to think alone. First of all, it can be ruled out that someone is following her to get her information because she started to eliminate the people around her 2 years ago. To put it more bluntly, most of the people who stayed around her were not human. It can be said that the creatures who can know her specific whereabouts now are either her own people like Zikingayu and Kyoshishi, or non-human creatures like Ukiki and Miss Tao. So she thought about it and felt that Mingyu's statement might be wrong. Of course, she didn't doubt that Mingyu was lying. After all, there was no need for him to lie to her. It's just that there is really no one around her who can secretly monitor her whereabouts. Just when she was wondering if she had neglected something, she suddenly heard a strange rustling sound. If her hearing was at the level of an average person, it would be difficult to hear such subtle sounds. Unfortunately, her hearing is very sharp now, and the slightest noise will attract her attention. So she pretended that nothing happened, took a coat, and put it on, and walked to the door. Leo Wang? Wen Jiu saw Leo Wang as soon as she opened the door. The other party was holding a plate of cut fruits, and it seemed that he came to give her fruits. Miss Wen, haven't you rested yet? Leo Wang still had a kind smile on his face, and he didn't look unusual. The sweet fruits in the garden are ripe. Master Z just picked some and asked me to cut them and send them to you. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just nodded as usual. Thank you very much. By the way, have Zhao Bangli and Zhao Huahua gone back to their rooms to rest? As soon as she finished speaking, Leo Wang continued to smile and said, Master Z and Miss Kao have both gone back to their rooms. Miss Wen, please rest assured. After hearing this, she took the fruit plate. After that, she chatted with Leo Wang for a few more words before gently closing the bedroom door. However, her smile disappeared the moment she closed the door. She was still wondering why the person Mingyu mentioned could know her life, work, whereabouts and other information. The moment she saw Leo Wang, she suddenly knew the reason. Leo Wang was a butler robot left by Mu Leo before he left. Because when Jiu and others were not used to the title of butler, everyone gave this robot a new nickname. That is the simplest one, Leo Wang. After all, Leo Wang was Mu Leo's robot, and the highest authority naturally belonged to Mu Leo. Even if Mu Leo authenticated Wen Jiu before leaving and reset the chip data inside Leo Wang, it could not change the fact that the buyer had the highest authority. There was no way, because Leo Wang was a butler robot bought from an advanced planet. Zikingai had previously given Wen Jiu a simple popular science, and the authority setting of this kind of butler robot was very strict, just to prevent someone from using the authority to harm the owner. Therefore, Wen Jiu could reasonably suspect that the Mu family member mentioned by Mingai was using Leo Wang to monitor her. Wen Jiu would not suspect that Mu Leo was secretly monitoring her because she had a good relationship with Mu Leo, and they would communicate about their recent situation on the Star Network on weekdays. There was no need for him to monitor her. So after thinking about it, it was most likely that Leo Wang was used by others. Jiu is rich. Chu Jian, are you asleep? Considering that Zikingai would have to participate in the competition tomorrow, she should have finished washing and lying on the bed by now, so she sent a message to Chu Jian, who also knew about robots. It turned out that she knew Chu Jian very well. The other party was still reading a romance novel at this time, and did not fall asleep early. Jian is really speechless. What's wrong? Are you not sleeping at night? Jiu is rich. Yes, I'm not sleeping. Don't read your romance novels for now. I have something important to tell you. Since Chu Jian didn't sleep, she started to chat. She first briefly explained the whole story, and then asked the question in her heart. How to transform Leo Wang without Mingai noticing. To be honest, Leo Wang is a good butler robot, and she doesn't want to change to a new one for now. Besides, she can't bear to spend star coins to buy a special butler robot from a high level planet. So based on the principle of saving as much as possible, let's see if Leo Wang can be transformed. Today's update has also been delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. Chapter 1271 will definitely win 3. Unfortunately, Wen Jiu and Chu Jian talked for a long time, but they didn't discuss a way to transform Leo Wang. The most fundamental reason is that Leo Wang's highest authority is not in Wen Jiu's hands, so none of the transformation methods that Chu Jian knows can be used. At the end of the chat, both of them were too sleepy, so they hurriedly said goodnight and went to sleep. But before Wen Jiu fell asleep completely, she suddenly remembered someone who hadn't appeared for a long time. So she forced herself to send a message to that person, and then fainted without even closing the light screen panel. Just a few minutes after she fell asleep, a new message popped up in the dialog box. 10 years of hard work, how to crack the highest authority? You don't say. I really know. Wen Jiu didn't see this message until the next morning. Unfortunately, when she saw the message, Cynthia's avatar had already turned grey. That means that Cynthia is no longer online. Alas, she couldn't help but sigh with some regret. Because Cynthia hadn't appeared for 2 years, she didn't think of her first when she was thinking about breaking into the robot. She finally waited for Cynthia to come online, but she missed it because she stayed up too late and was too sleepy. Alas, it can only be said that it was bad luck. Regrets aside, you still have to pack up and rush to the competition venue. Because Miss Tao is resting at home today, Wen Jiu doesn't need to go to the kitchen to cook and can go downstairs to the restaurant to eat ready-made food. You want to crack the highest authority? Zikingai put down his chopsticks when he heard this. Why suddenly want to crack the highest authority? Hearing this, Wen Jiu could only repeat what Mingai said. What? Zikingai stood up in shock and anger. There is such a thing. After the voice fell, he quickly came back to his senses. He turned his head and looked around, then sat down again and deliberately lowered his voice. It's a bit difficult to crack the highest authority because Leo Wang is a more advanced household robot, and I haven't cracked the authority of this kind of robot yet. And robots like Leo Wang will have anti-cracking programs, and they will report to the highest authority owner if they are not careful. So if you want to crack the highest authority, it's a bit difficult with my current ability. But if you just want to prohibit Leo Wang from passing on messages, I can do that. Just modify the program. It must be said that he also likes Leo Wang. Leo Wang has been taking care of the household affairs for many years and has managed everything in an orderly manner. From major home repairs to daily purchases and various housework, he has done a good job. Therefore, He does not want to use tough measures to deal with Leo Wang. By the way, the general way to crack the highest authority is to force the robot to shut down first, and then take out the chip to crack it. This method is simple and rough, and it is easy to damage the core of the robot. Although Leo Wang is just a robot, he still has feelings for him. Hearing this, Wen Jiu replied, while picking up some food, "I don't want to use tough measures against Leo Wang either. After all, it was not his intention to secretly monitor me and report the news. It was the problem of the person who was controlling him behind the scenes. In fact, she didn't want to use tough measures to deal with Leo Wang. After all, no matter what, the other party had been working hard as a housekeeper by her side for several years. Therefore, she hoped to find a way to not hurt Leo Wang and put an end to that person's surveillance. If you ask me, why not just dismantle Leo Wang?" Stephanie said with a smile while eating strawberries. "Anyway, Leo Wang is just a robot. Just dismantle it and buy another one, little Jiu. You can't always be so soft-hearted." As soon as the voice fell, Chu Jian frowned in disapproval. "Although Leo Wang is just a robot, we have been with him for so many days, and we still have some feelings for him. So from this point of view, I don't agree with forcibly dismantling Leo Wang for transformation." To be honest, Chu Jian didn't really care about how to deal with Leo Wang, but he cared about Wen Jiu's thoughts and attitude, so he thought the same as Wen Jiu thought. "Oh, how come the little black cat has become so soft?" Stephanie still looked indifferent, and her eyes painted with sea blue glitter blinked gently. "You are in the military academy, aren't you?" Before Stephanie finished her words, she was interrupted by Chu Jian with a cold face. "By the way, Xiao Bangli has to rush to the stadium to gather. If everyone is full, let's set off first. As for Leo Wang's matter, we can discuss it slowly at the stadium." Although Wen Jiu was very curious about what Stephanie didn't finish, she still agreed to Chu Jian's proposal to set off as soon as possible. After all, Zikingai's game could not be delayed, so it would be better to arrive at the stadium as soon as possible. So Wen Jiu and others packed up as soon as possible and got on the hovercraft to the stadium. Because Zikingai was a contestant today, he went straight to the gathering place as soon as he got off the car, while Wen Jiu took the rest of the people and walked slowly to the booth area to pack up. After all, Wen Jiu promised Ziziu to set up a stall, and he was not a person who went back on his word. Wow, so many people are queuing up again today. As soon as they walked to the side of the stall, they saw a huge crowd of people. Kyoshi couldn't help but sigh when she saw this scene. Hearing this, Wen Jiu on the side just nodded calmly and replied, "There are indeed many people coming today, so the things we brought will be sold out soon. Then we will go to the venue of the Xiao Bang League competition early." After that, she took Chu Jian to clean up the operating table, then took the ingredients out of the Ziji space and started cooking at the fastest speed. Kyoshi and Stephanie were not idle either. One of them stood at the cashier and negotiated with the customers with a smile, and the other sorted out the packaging boxes taken out of the Ziji space. Because there were more customers who came to buy food today than before, Wen Jiu and others quickly finished setting up the stall in the morning. So after they found out the match schedule and venue of Zikingai's game, they immediately rushed to the venue to watch Zikingai's game. But what they didn't expect was that when they stepped into the venue, they actually ran into Ziziu. Although it was not strange that Ziziu came to watch Zikingai's game, it was the first time for them to see Ziziu in a serious manner. Of course, except for Wen Jiu. When she first met Ziziu, the other party looked like a financial elite in a suit and tie, and there was no sign of the sloppy face behind him. Today's update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030, whispering, "There are too many things recently, and this year's New Year's Day is particularly busy, so the update has been interrupted for a few days. I hope the little angels can understand. CAC starting tomorrow, the 4000 update will be restored, and more will be added later according to the situation. 030, chapter 1272 will definitely win 4. At the same time, Ziziu, who had just finished the call, also saw Wen Jiu and others. So he negotiated with the assistant beside him for a few words, and then walked over quickly to say hello to Wen Jiu. What a coincidence, I actually met you here. He nodded to Wen Jiu with a faint smile, hoping that the other party could understand the meaning of his words. Are you ready to enter the venue? Fortunately, Wen Jiu was much smarter than his brother, and the other party quickly nodded and replied calmly, yes, it's really rare to meet Z here. Ha 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 ha. He first chuckled with his eyebrows bent, and then continued to say in the tone of chatting with the younger generation, after all, today is the big day for King Jiu to participate in the semi-finals, and I, as a brother, still have to come and see it. It's getting late, you should hurry in and find a seat. After that, he waved his hand and turned to walk in the direction where the assistant was standing. But before he took a few steps, he was stopped by a young man. Boss Z, are those your brother's friends? The man smiled with his eyebrows curved, but his eyes were malicious. Since they are your brother's friends, why not take them to the VIP room and watch the game with us? It's so hot, it's not comfortable to sit in the sun. As soon as the other party finished speaking, the people on the side echoed a few words. Yes, Boss Z's brother is our brother, so the friends of Boss Z's brother are our friends. Come on, take them to the VIP room and watch the game with us. Hearing this, Zizu's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. The reason why he didn't greet Wen Jiu warmly just now was because of the presence of these noisy guys. Most of these people were his business rivals, and he really didn't want them to have too much contact with Wen Jiu. It's not that he was worried that Wen Jiu would cooperate with others, but he didn't want the other party to be entangled for no reason. Just as he was silently thinking about how to reject these people's proposals, he saw the young man who spoke first walked directly in front of Wen Jiu. Little sister, do you want to go to the VIP room with your brothers to watch the game? There are delicious food and fun things in the VIP room, and you don't have to worry about getting sunburned. What do you think? Do you want to go? Zizu originally wanted to help Wen Jiu refuse, but before he could say anything, he saw the other party smiling brightly and said, okay, I'm just worried that watching the game for too long will cause my skin to get tanned and sunburned. Hearing this, he couldn't help but complain silently in his heart. Wen Jiu is still the same as before, and he won't blush when telling lies. Although he didn't know why Wen Jiu agreed to that person's strange proposal, he finally didn't say anything to refuse to take the other party to the VIP room. Anyway, Wen Jiu is different from his stupid brother. He has the ability to handle all situations. So he quickly regained his usual indifference and walked quickly towards the VIP room with his assistant. Wen Jiu and others walked slowly behind, chatting with the others from time to time. Little sister, are you also a student of 3047 Academy? Hearing this, Wen Jiu smiled brightly and replied, yes, I'm from the same class as King Jiu. As soon as she finished speaking, the young man walking at the edge snorted coldly, then your 3047 Academy is really good at teaching students, allowing you to learn all the skills of adults at a young age. Although she did not know this man, she could hear the other party's sarcasm. Our 3047 Academy does have good educational resources. She just continued to respond to the man with a smile, looking like an ordinary girl who was not familiar with the world. If you need it, big brother, you can come to our academy for further study. After all, it is rare to find someone who is old, but still has the mind of a child. Even though she did not stay in 3047 Academy for too long, it did not prevent her from defending it at this time. After she finished speaking, the man who first approached her suddenly laughed out loud. Oh my, Hanzering, I didn't expect you to be mocked by a little girl. When she heard the name Hanzering, she couldn't help but think for a moment. Hanzering, Han Yashin. It can't be such a coincidence. Facts have proved that there are so many coincidences in the world. As expected, women are women. Apart from being eloquent, they have no other skills. Forget it, I don't bother to argue with these women. I'll leave first. Although Han Zirong wanted to teach the girl in front of him a lesson, he still remembered that there were so many people around him. If he really argued with this girl, I'm afraid these people would laugh at him. So he could only pretend not to care, so as not to lose face in front of these people. His brother's previous loss in the preliminary round and being eliminated was enough to make him lose face. If he caused trouble again, how could their Han family compete for the position of a new famous family? However, some things were beyond his control. He had just taken a few steps forward when he heard the girl behind him say, "Big brother, do you disdain to argue with women, or are you too incapable of arguing with them? I would say that you should really consider coming to our college for further studies. Don't be so stubborn at your age." Before he could refute, he heard another girl say, "Yes, yes, it's too pitiful that you are only stubborn in your mouth. And oh actually, it's not shameful to lose the game. It's also good to get a place." He turned back angrily when he heard this and saw that both girls were staring at him with a smile, as if what they had just said was a joke. It would be fine if the girl who had chatted with Zizio earlier mocked him, but what he hated most was actually the other girl who caused his brother to lose the game. If this girl hadn't used tricks to win, how could his brother lose with his ability? The other party actually dared to mock his brother. How could he bear it? "You are the Kaioshishi, right? You are indeed pretty. No wonder you can get through the competition. I just don't know how many times you can use this trick. I hope you can win the next game like before." Wen Jiu was speechless when he heard Han Zirong's words. Why do people always think that the reason why beautiful girls are so powerful is because they rely on their faces to get through? Let's not talk about others, just talk about Kaioshishi. She has been with Kaioshishi for such a long time, and it can be said that she has many advantages. And being beautiful is just the least worth mentioning advantage of Kaioshishi. So she kept smiling and answered, "You always think that others win by selling their looks. Is it because you like to do that? But it's hard to imagine that someone would pay for your looks. Oh, and as for the competition, you don't need to worry, because Shishi is not a loser like your brother. She will definitely win. The first update of the day has been delivered. Please check it out, little angels." 030. Whisper, I feel like this year has passed so quickly. Chapter 1273. Advance to the Finals 1. Wen Jiu's words made Han Zirong speechless, and also made the men who were watching the show speechless. Because many of the men who came to join in the fun had the same idea as Han Zirong. They all thought that Kaioshishi's previous victory was mostly due to her pretty face. Otherwise, with Han Yasheng's second place in Hanzi school, it would be impossible for a girl to defeat him in 3 moves. For a while, the noisy conversation disappeared, and everyone just kept silent and walked forward. Even Han Zirong, who was scolded by Wen Jiu, didn't know how to refute. Seeing this, Wen Jiu just pulled Kaioshishi and others to chat while walking. She didn't bother to care what other people thought. She originally wanted to test the real purpose of these people, but now she just wanted to tear off their fake gentle faces. Just when she wanted to talk to Chu Jian again about how to solve Leo Wang's problem, Kaioshishi suddenly came over with an apologetic look. Jiu, actually, you don't have to do this for me. And it's not a good thing for you to argue with them. These people should be the dignitaries of Planet 3047. She interrupted Kaioshishi before she finished speaking. So what if they are dignitaries? I can't bear to see them say that about you. To be honest, she had seen quite a few dignitaries. But even if the other party was from a dignitary family, so what? As long as they offended her or her friends, she would still confront them and beat them up. Jiu. Kaioshishi couldn't help but pursed her lips in emotion, and she also resisted the urge to cry. Thank you. In fact, Kaioshishi was not afraid of these people, but she was worried that she would implicate Wen Jiu. Although she hadn't been in contact with the upper class of Planet 3047 for a long time, she had always been good at recognizing faces and remembering people. So when those people appeared, she recognized them. These people either had political power or had huge family businesses. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were dignitaries. What's there to thank for? It's what friends should do. When Jiu patted Kaioshishi on the back, don't think too much, just prepare for the next game and let them see how capable you are. Of course, you don't have to care too much about what they think. Let them think whatever they want. You still have a lot of things to do in your life, and you don't have time to get entangled with these nagging men. Wen Jiu didn't lower his voice when he said this, so Han Zirong and others who were walking slowly behind them all showed very dissatisfied expressions at this time. But before they could express their dissatisfaction, they were blocked by Ziziu, who came back. I thought only Mr. Han had some problems with his legs that made him walk slower, but I didn't expect that your legs were starting to align with Mr. Han. The game will start in 20 minutes. Do you plan to sit outside and watch? Ziziu first spoke up to Han Zirong and others, and then smiled and led the way for Wen Jiu and his group. In fact, they had already walked to the outside of the VIP room, but Ziziu found that something was wrong, so he turned back to look for Wen Jiu and others. Unexpectedly, when he came back, he saw those people looking very dissatisfied. Although his father told him to be cautious when he came to watch the game and try not to let those people catch their Z family's flaws, it did not mean that he would tolerate those people. In any case, their Z family is currently the #1 family on planet 3047, and they will not tolerate those guys who are not in a high position bullying them. After he finished speaking, the few people who wanted to get angry all forced out a smile. Only Han Zirong still had a gloomy face, like a balloon that was about to explode. Seeing this, he didn't even give the other party a look, and only took Wen Jiu and others into the VIP room. After all, to be honest, the Han family and the Z family cannot be compared at all. So no matter how dissatisfied Han Zirong was, it was not enough for him to appease him. Ahem. Alright. Han Z asked you to stop arguing with the little girl. Let's watch the game of Zizang's brother first. In the end, it was the man who had spoken to Wen Jiu at first who spoke up and pulled Han Zirong, who was about to lose his temper, into the VIP room. The others were too embarrassed to say anything else, so they all found a seat in the VIP room. Seeing this, Ziziu took Wen Jiu and his group to the 3rd floor, where a private room was reserved for him. You're so good, Ziziu. There's a place like the VIP room, but you didn't bring us here earlier. Wen Jiu looked at the clean, bright and comfortable private room, and couldn't help but joke to Ziziu cheerfully, not bad. Are the fruit desserts here free? Hearing this, Ziziu quickly explained the reason to Wen Jiu. It's not that he didn't want to bring Wen Jiu and others to the VIP room, but he was worried that those annoying people would pester Wen Jiu. After all, the news that Wen Jiu is the food anchor Gong Zifake is known to many ordinary people living on planet 3047, not to mention the upper class who are more informed of this news. Therefore, once these people see Wen Jiu, they will definitely try every means to pester him. As soon as the voice fell, Wen Jiu took a piece of strawberry cake. It's okay, I don't care about those things with you. It's just that you are quite good at enjoying yourself. The desserts provided in this VIP room are basically from our Teo. She knew that the official wanted Teo to cooperate in desserts, but she didn't pay too much attention to this cooperation. After all, Teo is now a company of scale, and many things that are not particularly important will be handled by others. Yes, I'm dedicated to our Teo, Ziziu replied, while taking desserts in the self-service area. By the way, did those people downstairs harass you? He and his assistant walked faster just now, and only vaguely heard a few words of argument. Hearing this, Wen Jiu recounted what happened just now. It's disgusting. He couldn't help but feel a little angry after hearing what Wen Jiu said. Don't worry, I will treat these people well. He has never been a soft bun who is easy to bully. Even if those people bully Kaioshishi and Wen Jiu, he can't tolerate it. Although the 11th military region in charge of planet 3047 intends to support 2 more families to be on an equal footing with the Z family, it is still their Z family that can own countless industries on planet 3047. So it is still very easy for him to deal with Han Zirong and his gang. Hearing this, Wen Jiu originally wanted to say a few more words to let Ziziu not get involved in these things. She can solve it by herself. But before she had time to speak, she saw the screen in the private room light up, and the curtains blocking the sunlight were pulled to the left and right. You don't need to ask too much to know that Zikangai's game has begun. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you again for the support of the little angels. 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1274, Advance to the Finals 2. It has to be said that Zikingayu's luck is really bad. He drew a big guy in the preliminary round, and he drew another big guy in this rematch. And the big guy he drew is a player that Wen Jiu knows. This person is the third place in the internal competition of Shenkei College, and is very good at close combat and supernatural power duels. It's just the third place, there's nothing to be afraid of. Ziziu always insults Zikingayu, but he still trusts his brother in his heart. Zio Bangli is the second place in 3047 College. He shouldn't lose to this third place. That's right, the first and second place in the internal competition of 3047 College were Kaioshishi and Zikingayu respectively. Because Zikingayu's ability in fighting is slightly weaker, the winner's crown was taken by Kaioshishi. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shook his head first, and then slowly said, "It's really hard to say." The contestant that Zio Bangli drew this time was, because he missed a game due to family matters, so he won the third place in the internal competition of Shenkei College. If this person had not missed a game, it would be inevitable that he would win the first place in Shenkei College. Although she did not participate in this college competition, she still asked Uruman for the contestants' information. In addition, there are also video recordings of the contestant in the preliminary round. The big contestant that Zikingayu will face next is one of the ones she has listed as worth paying attention to. Although Huang Nan only has a level 5 superpower, he can fight against a level 6 superpower. Wen Jiu said, while listening to the host reading out the rules of the rematch, "I hope Zio Bangli will not take it lightly this time, otherwise." She definitely hopes that Zikingayu can win, but she is a little worried that the other party will do something reckless. Just like in the preliminary round, in order to test the opponent's strength, deliberately take a few punches first. Huang Nan's opponent was different from Zikingayu's opponent in the preliminary round. If the opponent punched her 1 or 2 times, Zikingayu would not be able to withstand it. So she could only hope that Zikingayu would listen to her previous advice and not use his own life safety to test the opponent's true strength. Ziziu, who was originally very relaxed, became nervous after listening to the information Wen Jiu said. He was not doubting Zikingayu's ability, but was worried that the other party would be injured in the game. Although it is not uncommon to get injured in such a game, he couldn't help but worry and be nervous when he thought that Zikingayu might be injured. After all, the other party is his biological brother, and it would be a lie to say that he is not worried. "Brother Z, don't worry too much about Zio Bangli." Kaioshishi seemed to have noticed Ziziu's mood changes, so she ate cream puffs while comforting him in a gentle voice. Zio Bangli did a lot of fighting training during the off-season, and his fighting ability is much better than before. He will definitely defeat this player named Huang Nan. Hearing this, Ziziu just smiled casually. "Don't worry, I haven't seen any storms. This little thing is not enough to make me upset." After hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but lower his head to hide his smile. The two brothers of the Z family are really close brothers, and they can be said to be equally tough. Several people chatted and ate desserts, and soon it was time for the game to officially start. The first game was a mecha battle. Because Zikingayu was very good at mecha battles, he won the game effortless. However, he did not take it lightly. After returning to the lounge, he began to calm down and keep himself in the best condition to welcome the battle. After a break of about 10 minutes, it was time to start the second game, which was a superpower showdown. Zikingayu was now a 6th level gold superpower user, which could be said to be far ahead of his peers. Even many people from low level planets barely reached the threshold of 3rd level superpowers when they graduated. So Zikingayu's superpower level was so high that it was no exaggeration to say that he crushed all the players in the field. But the player who played against him, Huang Nan, was also a very talented person. Before the internal competition of Shenkei College began, the opponent was already a 5th level wood superpower user. TSK, Zhao Bangli better be 100% focused, otherwise it will be difficult for him to win this game. Chu Jian said, and handed a peeled orange to Wen Jiu. Seeing this, Wen Jiu first took the orange, and then expressed his opinion. As long as he doesn't make mistakes on purpose like before, he should have no problem winning this game. As for injuries, who wouldn't get injured when participating in a competition, unless he can crush his opponent 100%. Anyway, no matter what kind of injury Zikingayu suffered, she could make him recover to be healthy as before. The only thing she was worried about was Zikingayu's mentality. However, after Zikingayu was pressed and rubbed by her several times, the other party gradually lost the arrogant attitude of the past. So this problem should not be too worrying. Several people were chatting and waiting for the game to start, and the door of the private room was suddenly knocked. Hearing the sound, Ziziu's assistant immediately went over to confirm the identity of the person knocking on the door. Boss Z, it's Boss Zhao Wang. The boss Zhao Wang the assistant was talking about was the young man who took the initiative to talk to Wen Jiu and invited Wen Jiu and others to the VIP room. What is he doing here? Ziziu frowned in dissatisfaction. Forget it, let him in. He originally wanted to ask his assistant to send this man away, but then he thought about the fact that AOS Pharmaceuticals had a recent project and was cooperating with the Wang family's transportation company, so he decided to give this young Mr. Wang some face. Wen Jiu and others didn't object, so they first saw what Mr. Wang's purpose was. So with Ziziu's consent, the assistant entered the command to open the door. Boss Z, it's really comfortable here. Zhao Wang handed the gift box in his hand to Ziziu's assistant. As soon as he entered the door, I heard that you have a hobby of collecting famous wines, so I specially asked someone to buy this bottle of angel wings from Master Monto at the high-end Planet Auction House. Hearing this, Ziziu just smiled indifferently and said, Boss Wang is really thoughtful, but I'm a little uncomfortable with your sudden courtesy. I wonder what you want to see me for. Although AOS Pharmaceuticals has cooperated with Wang's transportation company, he himself has no friendship with Zhao Wang. The main reason is that he doesn't like Zhao Wang's style of doing things, so he rarely takes the initiative to contact him on weekdays. Well, it's nothing serious. Mr. Wang sat on the sofa in a familiar manner. I was just thinking that Master Zhao Z is about to play the second game, and I'm a little curious whether Master Zhao Z can win the game. After all, this player named Huang Nan is a student who is being trained by Shenkei College. The first update of the day has been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. Chapter 1275. Advanced to the finals 3. Wen Jiu felt something was wrong when she heard what Zhao Wang said, because the other party's words were filled with gloating. Moreover, Zhao Wang did not come earlier or later, but came at the time of the supernatural duel. Not to mention Ziziu, who was the party involved. Even Kaioshishi and others who were eating desserts nearby could sense Zhao Wang's weirdness. So when Jiu spoke without mercy, Zikingayu is a level 6 gold supernatural, and Huang Nan is only a level 5 wood supernatural. If the two of them really fight, Zikingayu will definitely win. She has been watching Zikingayu training during this period, so she naturally knows what the other party's current strength is. Even if the player named Huang Nan can compete against a high level, it is impossible for him to easily defeat Zikingayu, who has trained hard. And based on her understanding of Zikingayu, it is almost impossible for the other party to lose this game. Therefore, she was too lazy to say anything polite to Zhao Wang. Ha 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 ha. Miss Wen and young Master Zhao Z have a really good relationship. Mr. Wang did not get angry after being rebuked. Instead, he smiled and moved closer to Wen Jiu. Of course I believe that young Master Zhao Z can win, but this Huang Nan is very good at fighting against opponents of higher levels. If young Master Zhao Z wants to win, I'm afraid he will suffer some hardships. Having said this, if Ziziu did not speak again, then she would really have to suffer from Mr. Wang's anger. So he asked his assistant to open a bottle of wine he brought, and then he sneered. What Mr. Wang said is too funny. Who comes to participate in the college competition without suffering? As long as we can win the game in the end, isn't it enough? That's true. Mr. Wang still maintained a kind smile, but the smile in his eyes faded a little. But I heard that Master Xiao Z is not good at supernatural power duels. I'm afraid this game. Before Mr. Wang finished speaking, he was interrupted by the girl next to him. Uncle, are you from the Federal Theater? Hearing this, Mr. Wang replied puzzledly, my little girl, I'm only 26 this year, how can I be your uncle? And, I'm not from the Federal Theater. In fact, when Mr. Wang heard this, he was secretly happy, because generally only people with good looks and good figures will be praised, like those who came from the Federal Theater. But before he could be happy for long, he heard the girl say, so uncle, you are not from the Federal Theater, then why do you like to contradict others so much? Hearing this, his smile froze on his face. Ha 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 ha, Shish's ability to tell jokes is getting better and better. Seeing Xiao Wang's embarrassed look, Ziziu couldn't help but smile as brightly as a blooming flower. Well, since Xiao Wang is here, just sit down. It just so happens that the second game will start soon. Whether my brother can win or not will be revealed soon. After saying that, he ignored Xiao Wang's dark face. Anyway, he had given him enough face. He didn't follow Wen Jiu and Kaioshishi to be weird, which was the greatest respect for Xiao Wang. Xiao Wang saw Ziziu like this, and couldn't say anything, so he could only pretend to be indifferent and watch the game. But he was secretly cursing in his heart, hoping that Zikingai would lose the game, and it would be best if she would get an incurable injury, so that he could watch Ziziu's joke. As he thought about it, he turned his eyes to the big screen, but he met the eyes of the girl sitting in front of the screen. The girl was wearing a strange blue lace dress, and had pink and blue hair. The pair of pink eyes stared at him with a smile, which made him feel an indescribable coldness. It was like being stared at by a snake. This made him quickly lower his head, fearing that if he stared at the girl for a few more seconds, he would not be able to help but run out. The next contestants to compete are Zikingai from 3047 College and Huangnan from Shenkei College. They will have their second match, which is the long-awaited supernatural power showdown. Please take your seats in an orderly manner, and do not walk around at will. Xiao Wei, let me reveal something to everyone. Among the contestants participating in the competition this time, there are only 2 level 6 supernatural powers and Zikingai is one of them. The host's voice had just fallen when the people in the viewing stand became excited. Okay, don't get too excited. Let Xiao finish her words first. The host on the stage estimated that the atmosphere was right, and then continued to say the following lines with a smile. The contestant Huangnan who will compete with contestant Zikingai who this time is also very famous. Contestant Huangnan has always been the pride of Shenkei College. At a young age, he has a 5th level wood ability. The most important thing is that he is very good at fighting above his level. As early as when he was a 3rd level wood ability user, he was able to defeat his teacher who was a 4th level ability user. So today's ability duel can be said to be very interesting. The audience present now are all lucky the host on the stage was very good at livening up the atmosphere and soon made the audience excited. Seeing this, Ziziu just shook the wine glass in his hand lightly. He didn't care about the information the host said, he just wanted the game to start and end quickly. Because the person participating in this game was his own brother, he didn't want to see the other party injured and bleeding on the stage. So it would be better for him if the game could end as soon as possible. Unfortunately, things didn't go as he wished. Huangnan's reaction speed is so fast. Kaioshishi looked at the picture on the big screen, and she couldn't help but feel a little worried. Xiao Banli clearly constructed a shield the moment the system announced the start of the game, but Huangnan still used vines to reach his ankles that he didn't have time to cover. Hearing this, Chu Jian nodded in agreement. Huangnan's reaction speed is indeed very fast. Fortunately, our Xiao Banli is not bad either. If Xiao Banli hadn't discovered it in time and cut off the attacking vines with a wind blade, I'm afraid Xiao Banli would have suffered at the beginning. You know, Zikingai has been training hard during this period, and his ability level is also 1 level higher than Huangnan. But the reaction speed of the two is actually comparable. Let's continue to watch. Wen Jiu analyzed for a moment before expressing his opinion. Huangnan's physical fitness seems to be worse than I expected. If Xiao Bang Li can hold on for a while longer, he can catch Huang Nan's flaws and defeat him in one fell swoop. As soon as she finished speaking, Kaioshishi exclaimed. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.